There is one unique phenomenon in this world, and that is magical supermatter. The stronger the magic power, the more powerful the magician. The idea of creating a ranking of magicians. He is Ikiji, a member of the Count's family. Isn't that silly? There are no human rights for him. A mage who was able to gain 1,000 points by the age of 15. Such a magician is called a B-class magician. There were several opponents at once, but Ikijo was tired. The short-haired guy resented it. Because he wasn't tired, he was in good shape. The guy used water magic. He warned that the guys would fall to their knees now. Another guy tried to stop the short-haired guy, named Brango. And if a Class B mage is an aristocrat, Brango reassured the guy, his natural magic is water. He will live, it's just that he will have a few broken ones. Hence, he is a Class B aristocrat. Brango used his magic but suddenly fell down. He was helped by Ikijo in doing so. Brango didn't realize what had happened. Then he would be dubbed a BB class mage. Ikiji swept up that Brango was settling for too much. 2 years ago, magical power 5. His father had never seen a number lower than that before. At that age, his brother had about 100. A man approached him and reported another report. The young wizard's natural magic is 0. His father is puzzled by such evaluations. This boy's name is Skye Vincent, and he is the third son of Count Visoto. With these grades, he is no longer part of this family. 1 year later, Skye's family has severed all ties with him. He wants to enjoy this freedom as much as possible. During the day, he spends his time in the nearby forest. Skye fires a magic bullet at a bird flying by. The magic bullet is equal to 0. It's the bullet that newcomers use to practice magic control. It's the only magic Skye can use. The magic bullet worked, now he proceeds to fire. He felt someone behind him. Skye turned around and asked who was here. He is surprised. Skye can't use a magic bullet. It was a man. He is glad he could find a mage who uses power 0. He shows everything and explained to Skye. His name is Ans. A pause hung between them. They cooked the chicken. Ans offered Skye a piece of this delicious bird, and he had no trouble agreeing. Then he asked what his uncle meant when he talked about it earlier. Ans didn't understand what he meant. Skye meant what Ans had said earlier about the occasion when he saw Skye using 0 magic. Ans realized what the boy was talking about. Skye wants to be like his uncle in the future. Ans thinks he can't. Ans resented Skye calling him uncle. The boy apologizes and introduces himself. He has a request for Mr. Ans. He asked to teach him the magic that Mr. Ans just used. He can teach it to him, but he doesn't advise him to do it. Skye got angry, because the kind of magic that blocks the enemy's magic power is the strongest. The previous magic is known as magic seal. It could only be used by some people. Skye needs to practice, and one day he will be able to use this magic. However, the magic power consumed is huge. About 980, the boy has a magic power of 5. Also, the effect will only last for 3 seconds. As they say, the natural power of 0 works very poorly. But there is also another disadvantage. Skye is very upset about what Ans informs him about this magic. He asks the boy about the magic speed. Skye is sure he knows about it for sure. The full magical power, magical nature, magical significance, magical operations, magical speed. In the first place, this is the basic concept of magical power. What is magical speed? It is the speed at which magic moves to reach a goal. The speed is different depending on the method. Depending on the user, there is a misstep in speed. Skye concluded that it meant being able to use his power by strengthening his magic and increasing his power correctly. But it was completely wrong. Skye became angry. He didn't understand what he was teaching it for. Ans explained that in this world where peace has been held for a long time, wrong knowledge spreads unbridled. The magic speed is the magic transformation speed. Skye interrogated Ans about magical transformation. He had never heard such a word before. Ans explained that it was easier to understand it by experiencing it than by hearing it from him. From today onwards, he will put a seal on the boy. The time to say the magical seal is 8 seconds. Skye will need to start counting down the time when the teacher begins to say. Ans set to work. It began. Skye began counting down the seconds. He counted to 10. It's here. Did Skye notice? It took 10 seconds to get to this spot. It takes 9 whole 2/10 of a second when it's traveling in a straight line. This lag of 1 whole 2/10 of a second is the rate of transformation of magical power. But a lag of 1 whole 2/10 of a second is not bad. Ans's magic conversion rate is 87%. The world average is 50%. But 50% is faster compared to others, so it takes 16 seconds for others as well. The boy seems to be one of those people. He seems to have surpassed Ans 87%. A magician whose magic transformation speed is 100% is a legendary creature named Laganashi. and Skye has the qualities to become this Laganashi faster than anyone else. This will allow him to unleash more magic bullets than others. He can become the fastest and strongest wizard. Skye was very attracted to the idea of becoming the fastest and strongest. His eyes lit up. If Skye agrees, Ans is willing to be his teacher. He won't be able to become the legendary Laganashi. Skye rejoiced at the suggestion, but suddenly shivered. He hated to talk about it, but he informed Ans that he has no ability. He is a weak boy who has been abandoned by his family. That is why he will not be able to live up to Ansu's expectations. Skye lowered his head and apologized. He got ready to leave. Ans didn't care how much magic power the boy had. Skye turned around. He hadn't expected this, even though Ans didn't care. But according to the boy, the amount of magic power should matter. The legendary Laganashi was much more important than that. Ans was indeed happy to see Skye. The boy was flooded with memories of his family. His father had told him that he shouldn't appear on the streets even though he had a total magic power of 5. He believed that this boy was a disgrace to the Vincent family. Skye stayed. He thanked the master. First, we need to measure the boy's ability. Ans gave him 3 balls, needed to shoot a magic bullet. These balls are a tool to measure the skill level, SME speed and CPMC rating, magic power conversion factor and skill level. Skye wondered, but that was something the master would tell him about next time. The boy decided to try. CPMC is the magic power conversion factor. MSP is magic power conversion. Skye fired a magic bullet, piercing through the tree trunk. Ans grabbed his arm, demanding him to show the result. It was a lot. The magic conversion rate was 95%. Level 82, there was also 98%. These numbers stood for magic power transformation. Isn't it amazing? Ans smirked. He thinks this boy is a genius, a lover of a god. The master is delighted. This is what was expected of his apprentice. Until a year ago, this boy thought he was living a lonely life. Training with Ans began. Skye learned to throw magic bullets, several at a time. Learned to make magic circles in the air. He and the master ate delicious poultry meat. Before going to bed, they read a book. Skye was learning to fire magic bullets at a belly target in the shape of Ans, but he was having trouble hitting it. Skye hung upside down in a tree while Ans greedily ate a bird. Skye lay down on the grass, closing his eyes with pleasure. 6 months later, they had come to a place that was the essence of training. It was an adventurers guild. Ans explained that he needed money now. There was no loss of earnings. He asked Skye's opinion of their reason for being in the guild. They approached the counter. Ans informed the girl that he wanted to take a job. The girl greeted him politely. She had a request that could be accepted at once. Ans read it carefully and agreed to do so. An assignment to subdue Bigfoot. Skye's strength has exceeded 50. Ans thinks it's a very good opponent in terms of strength. The reward for this assignment is not bad either. They saw something and stopped. Skye pointed to the ground. Bigfoot must have come from there. A huge snow yeti appeared in front of them. He began beating his chest, emitting a roar. A guy needs to be careful, that's Ans's rule. Bigfoot's nature is earth. With this kind of fitness, he can jump for 3 minutes. The ideal time for a spell is 4 seconds. The norm is 6 seconds. Skye's magical transformation speed is 65%. Skye understood everything. He needs to measure the magic power conversion rate during a fight this way. Bigfoot pushed himself off the ground. The monster made a big jump, landing next to the boy and his master. Skye proceeded to cast a spell, firing magic bullets at the yeti. Each bullet hit the yeti, pushing it back. The monster made a swing of his paw, pushing the boy away, but he held on to keep from falling. Skye fired another bullet. He doesn't think the monster is keeping up with him. Skye has time to use healing. If he keeps shooting off like this, he can complete the task, even without the master's help. He has begun another spell. Skye was confident that he could do it alone. He unleashed a powerful charge of magic and felled the yeti. The fight seemed to end smoothly, but not so. The monster is not defeated. Bigfoot made a very loud sound. Skye's ears hurt from that sound. The monster swung his paw at the boy. This is bad. This may be the end. Out of nowhere came a multitude of magic bullets into the monster. It was flung away from the boy. It might resemble Skye's bullet. The application time is 1 second. Ans only used it because the opponent was a snow yeti. Skye should also use it against the monster. If Skye learns this method, he can use it as a backup. Bigfoot is not defeated. He stood up again. The boy still doesn't fully understand magic. But now is not the time to think about that. We need to focus on what he can do. Skye concentrates on using magic. Ans watched him carefully. His spell speed seemed to have increased. The magic bullets became even more. The Yeti, trying to fend off the attack, grabbed a snowball and threw it at the boy. Skye managed to dodge. He began to use the spell even faster. Even though Bigfoot is fast, the boy has no intention of losing to anyone. Ans swept up that it was a double change. He marvels at the speed. Skye intends to hit the monster at least 1,000 times before he gets hit and moved. This boy will become the fastest mage. Skye has achieved 100% magic speed conversion. Bigfoot had fallen. Finally, he was defeated. Skye was able to do it. It was amazing. He had reached 100% KPMC for the magic bullet. Is this really the birth of a legendary magician? Ans couldn't believe that he had seen this miracle with his own eyes. Skye explained to the master that he used the very same method to reach 100%. He is very happy that he succeeded. All thanks to the master. Skye has a lot to learn. He is grateful to Ansu for his support. Master Ans is glad he met the boy. He offered to bring the Snow Yeti to town first. Of course, this battle was part of the training. In a world where the amount of mana is considered absolute, Skye's family disowned him for his meager amount of mana. But one day, after meeting a mysterious magician named Ans, he learned that the conversion ratio of magic power was more important than the amount of mana, and that he was a genius at it. After he decided to train with Ans, he soon became a legendary creature with 100% magic power conversion ratio. Under the name of Lagless. Even if he is lagless, an apprentice remains an apprentice. Ans decided to rest on the Yeti while Skye dragged him. They came to the guild. They were given a reward for completing the task. It was surprising to the administrator that they were able to beat a rank on their first assignment. Ans didn't tell Skye that it was a rank, but it was a good lesson for the boy. Because of this assignment, Skye was able to become a Lagless and he learned a lot. Skye's magic transformation efficiency and skill level reached 100% in the last check. As expected, the boy has a great attitude towards magic. Only Skye doesn't agree with it. Skye reminded Ansu that he hadn't said anything about the two topics yet. The master remarked that the boy really enjoyed learning magic. They walked out of the guild hall. The master explained that skill levels are different for each magic spell. A level indicates how well a person is proficient in a particular spell. For example, if the current Skye and the Skye 6 months ago shot a magic bullet at the same time, even if the spell is the same, the past Skye's bullet would fly off to the side. The higher skill level wins. Now it's time to find out what the effectiveness of a magic transformation is. For example, a magic spell requires 100 magic power. The actual magic power required for that spell depends on the caster's magic transformation efficiency. Therefore, if a person with 50% magical transformation efficiency casts a spell that requires 100 magical power, it will take 200 magical power. In other words, Skye with his 100% magic transformation efficiency has the highest cost to performance ratio. Now he understood the speed of magic transformation and the efficiency of magic transformation. As long as these two ratios are on the high side, the amount of his mana isn't that important. Skye is delighted. Now that he has reached 100% in all the right aspects, there is a way to become even stronger. Skye can't wait to find out what that way is. Ans suggested that they go out to buy a rod. They went into a store that had a lot of different tools and magic items. Using the wand as a medium when casting a spell would allow something more powerful to be fired. The natural properties of the wand allow magical power to flow more easily than the human body. Behind the counter sat a tired-looking guy. I think Skye had seen him before, and suggested choosing a form first. If they call it a wand, it's not something that looks like a wooden stick. The affinity with a magic spell, ease of presentation, someone's preference. These three things affect the power of a spell. Everyone's wands are different. For example, there are wands shaped like a folding fan, katana, and so on. So Skye needs to think carefully about the shape that suits his fighting style. The boy wondered what kind of rod would suit him. He thought about what unique abilities he had. Obviously, it was his meager amount of mana, so ones that require a lot of mana are out. Next, his fast spell casting. He can't help but capitalize on it. The skill of his magic bullets has reached 100. This is undoubtedly his greatest weapon. Skye's strength is long-range combat, using magic bullet. He pondered which rod would allow him to fire at high speed, which would suit his preference. It dawned on him. He realized what kind of rod he needed. A few days later, the customization of the rod was complete. Now it was worth testing to see how much his bullet's power would increase while the wand was in use. Ans suggested he try to hit the target on the tree with his magic bullet. There's no need to get sidetracked. The staff can absorb magical power. Skye got ready. He took out a wand that looked like a pistol and pointed it towards the target. He pulled the trigger and hit the exact target. That he came up with a rod shaped like a gun was a good decision on his part. Moreover, since he can dual spell, the paired weapon is perfect for him. Dual spellcasting is the wielding of two magic spells at the same time. They can measure the power of the spell by observing the degree of color change of the circles outside the direct hit mark. Ans began to study the target's circles. He frowned. Something was wrong with the power of the magic bullet spell while using the wand. Without the wand, it was 200. Skye is really strange, because the strength of the magic bullet spell, according to the research, is more than 500. It usually increases anywhere from 1/10 to 1/3 times, and from Ans's observations, 1.5 times is the largest. He had never heard of a rod that increased strength by 2.5 times. Right now, it was already in divine territory. Skye's affinity with the rod seems to be excellent. The boy is incredibly happy about it. Now it was time for the repetition. Ans asked the boy how many broad categories magic spells fall into. Skye began to list the categories. Spells for beginners, intermediate spells, preliminary spells, forbidden spells or old magic. In all, he counted 4 categories. That was the correct answer. It was too early to move on to forbidden spells. We should focus on the first 3. This categorization has been used consistently since ancient times. Has Skye realized the peculiarities of this categorization? Spellcasting time for beginners is 1 to 2 seconds, 3 to 4 seconds for an intermediate spell, and 6 to 7 seconds for advanced spells. Moreover, beginner spells are useful against a single enemy. Intermediate spells are useful against multiple enemies. Advanced spells release destructive power per hit. Therefore, they are useful for attacking a wide area. Ans was satisfied. Even if Skye wasn't a legendary Legolas, he could still be an excellent student as a teacher. Ans clarified that he was a mage healer, although he didn't appear to be such. He hadn't mentioned it before. For Skye, this news was too unexpected. Moreover, this information he would not be able to find in books. Within these categories, spells can also be categorized based on their power. The power of beginner spells is 300 to 400. The power of intermediate spells from 600 to 700. The power of advanced spells from 1000 to 1200. Now his magic bullet with a spell time of 0.1/10 has a normal strength of 200, and if he uses his wand, it will exceed 500. Skye is also capable of a double magic bullet spell. The boy is shocked by these capabilities. The spell power of 1000 in just 0.1/10 of a second, and in 0.2/10 of a second, he will be able to exceed the spell powers of advanced spells. The idea of an absolute amount of mana was absurd, after all. To think of it, a magic bullet with a magic power of only 1 could be so powerful. Ans thought he already knew everything about magic, but it seems he still had a lot to learn. He asked Skye to touch the wand and held out his hand. The boy slapped his hand. Skye turned away, covering the rod. He asked not to touch his child, and so 6 months passed. Skye was admiring his wands, with Ans sitting beside him. He suddenly called out to the boy. He informed the boy that he had an excellent talent. Moreover, he had gone through the master's harsh training without giving up even for a moment. It had already been a year since their meeting. This boy has become the legendary Legolas and has become much stronger. Ans thinks that he has taught Skye everything he knew. Therefore, he thinks to end his journey at this point and return to his homeland. Ans decided to leave Vincent's territory. Skye is sad about that. The master explains that he is ashamed to leave everything to his father. He has a soulmate waiting for him at home. Skye doesn't understand what the master is doing in this forest if there is a bride waiting for him at home. The master wanted, no matter what, to meet the legendary Legolas that his master had always talked about. After 3 years of wasted time, he did meet Skye. The boy assumes that the master's fiancée has long since left him, but Ans disagrees. In fact, this year he spent with the boy has been very helpful to the master. He thanked Skye. The boy turned to him. That was exactly what the master wanted to do. But if you count this year as well, it turns out 4 years had passed. Skye asked the master to return to his bride immediately. When Ans was persuaded to return, he wanted to stay a little longer. The boy didn't stop kicking him out. Ans will be moving out in a week. They will need to prepare food before that time. The boy agreed. But there was something else. A whole week to prepare food. Didn't Skye think it was a waste of time? Ans offered to fight at this last moment. Skye gladly agreed, but the master doesn't need to complain if he gets maimed. They stood opposite each other. Skye launched his attack first. He immediately used a double spell. The master successfully repelled his apprentice's attacks. As expected, he was at a disadvantage in the skirmishes. The boy didn't stop attacking. He used his wand and shot towards the tree without stopping. The tree fell down. The boy noticed that the master had disappeared. He was confused. Skye seems to have missed something. He thought for a moment, remembering what he might have missed. Ans appeared out of nowhere. The boy hadn't expected such an appearance. The master had used a magic seal that was bad. At this distance, it would take 0.2 of a second to reach him. In that time, Skye could fire 4 magic bullets if he used a double spell. But if he does that, he won't be able to win. Skye became frustrated after realizing that he had no chance of winning in close combat. He found a way out of this situation. The boy had hidden something from the master the day he became lagless. He noticed that he had a new power. Skye can only use it for 10 seconds, but the spell casting time is cut in half, making the magic bullets casting time only 0.5 of a second. Likewise, the effectiveness of the magic transformation increases to 200%, reducing the cost of the spell by 50%. Furthermore, the power of the spell doubles. He is ready to present his full power to the master by utilizing 200% of the magic transformation speed. Skye used his full power and plowed the master to the ground. It might not have worked. The boy in waiting. Ans lay without getting up. Skye sat down beside him. He seemed to have overdone the force. 2 weeks had passed. It was time for Ans to leave. He remarked that the boy had performed well in that battle. Thanks to that, the master slept for a whole week. Skye apologized. But there was no need to apologize, because it was 200% of the magic transformation speed. It's remarkable that Skye can shoot magic bullets in 0.5 of a second. The master extended his hand. He invited his apprentice to meet again someday. The boy is sure without a doubt that this will happen. Ans left Skye and went home. 6 years later, 15-year-old Skye had reached 999 in the mana dimension. Because his mana did not exceed 1000, he officially became a BB level mage. After that, as the son of an earl family, he was sent to a famous magic academy. He wondered what counterattack he wouldn't be expelled for. A year ago, before the induction ceremony at the magic academy, Vincent's mansion, Skye's father summoned him to his office. Skye had grown a lot in the time his father hadn't seen him. All thanks to him not paying attention to the boy. The father is not sure if his son will be able to cross the 1000 in mana amount before his next 15th birthday next year. The father doesn't want the world to know about his son, but he is forced by circumstances. He has decided that Skye will attend a magic academy from next year. Magic Academy. It is the best institution in this country for magical education. Aristocrats and talented commoners magicians attend this academy. Skye's older brother also studies there. It is not clear to the boy why sending him to study at a school where other aristocrats study is tantamount to exposing the shame in the family. Skye's older brother Talon has received a marriage proposal from the royal princess. It looks like he won't be able to keep the family surname. The head of the family wants the boy to attend the academy as an understudy to the family's second son, Soel. In other words, if something happens to the receiver Soel, he wants Skye to be ready and properly trained as a backup. The boy refuses such an offer. He sees no benefit to himself. The father apologizes to the boy for disowning him before. Skye needs to think of this as a family matter and attend the academy. Skye clenched his hands into a fist. He doesn't feel any obligation to help his family. He headed for the exit, but his father stopped him by offering something. Even after Saul inherits the family property without incident, his father is willing to give the boy 1/3 of the entire family property. Skye stopped. If the boy refused such an offer, his father could force him to do so, but he was unwilling to go that far. The boy thought about his father's offer. It was not a bad offer. Moreover, he would be able to make a name for himself if he was a graduate of the Magic Academy, and he would have many opportunities after graduation. Besides, it's an earl family even if it's a rotten one. That it is problematic if they interfere in the boy's life after he rebels against them. Skye agreed. He would enter the academy for his father's sake, but on the condition that he would not interfere with him when he was in the house after graduation. This was what the head of the family wanted. Lastly, he gave some advice to his son. If he didn't want to mess with the aristocrats, he shouldn't show off. Skye closed the door behind him. He's well aware of that. The boy went into the woods. He felled the bear. Skye is very angry with his father, for he asked him to stay out of his way, at least just to provide him with something for his daily expenses. The boy dragged the bears he overpowered. Adventurers Guild. It was amazing, as Skye had defeated 2 class A monsters in one day, as expected of the record holder for defeating a snow yeti in the least amount of time. In the end, the decision to give him a gold card that day was the right one. It was good news for the guild that the boy was still in. He was given a reward in a gold card. Such a card can be obtained by adventurers with high achievements. It can be used to get a job in the guild and to enter forbidden areas and facilities. There were guys standing nearby. One guy was surprised that at such an age, the boy had already gotten a gold card. The other guy remarked that it had already been a month since he had defeated a class A monster. There was still a girl standing nearby. Noticing Skye, she followed him. She said hello to him. This girl's name is Arietta Tungaloy. She is from a marquee family. Starting this year, she will be attending the Magic Academy. She boasted that she also has a gold card. Children their age become a topic of discussion if they have such a card. She is fascinated by the thought of Skye defeating 2 monsters of rank A. He must be quite an experienced mage. Arietta is glad that Skye will also be attending the Magic Academy from this year. She asked his name. Skye doesn't want to tell her his name. The girl didn't like it. After all, she is a member of the Marquis family and introduced herself first. She thinks it's rude of Skye. Maybe they will be in the same class for 3 whole years. So if he hides his name now, she will still find out sooner or later. Skye didn't know that the classes of the Magic Academy were divided based on skill level. So I didn't think a person with the same ability would get into a grade. Skye thought about the fact that he was the person with the least amount of mana, and Arietta would find out sooner or later anyway. Since that was the case, he decided to introduce himself. Arietta realized that he was from an Earl family and he had skills worthy of a member of an Earl family. She asked how much mana Skye had. Apparently this girl doesn't know about him, but the BB class nickname of a wizard from the Count family is quite famous, so much so that even Skye himself finds it pathetic. Arietta seems strange to him. The boy seems very cautious to her since he hides the amount of his mana, but this is not a valid reason. It didn't really matter. It can be assumed that the 2 of them will compete for the best student post. Skye is sure that they will. Arietta will look forward to it. She has never met a worthy opponent in her life before. Arietta is really excited to finally have a worthy opponent in front of her. She waved goodbye and went on her way, humming something. Skye didn't understand what had happened, but he wasn't happy to meet the girl. Entry day. Skye left the room, leaving some paper with notes on the table. It had information about him written on it. His mana amount is 999. The amount of magic is 100%. The magic class is a class. Magic speed a class. The spells used are 4. Putting the above results together, it was decided that Skye would be categorized as Class C. This was to be expected. After all, this is a world where mana is absolute. It's impossible for them to let someone with a mana amount below 1,000 into this academy. Moreover, the other students can use 14 or 15 spells on average. Skye was sitting on a chair. The boys were watching him through the window, for he really is here, this BB mage. Skye expected it to be like this. He really didn't like it. Soon the bullies would start harassing him, which in itself would be annoying. But the fact that he couldn't even respond to the name calling annoyed him even more. The blonde-haired boy thinks that without Skye, there are many outstanding people who entered the academy this year. The dark-haired boy agreed with him. One of them was Arietta Tungaloy. She had 28,000 mana by her 15th birthday. That is indeed a lot even for legendary magicians in history. The quality of her magic is 100%. The magic class and speed of magic is a class. Godly spells are 100. At this time in a class, Arietta was trying to find Skye. There is another outstanding personality. It is the 6th daughter of the former king, Lady Sophia Nasher. Because of her weak physique since she was a child, she herself decided to belong to Class E. The dark-haired boy was doting on her beautiful and volatile face. The blonde-haired one could have supported this person if he had been in the same class. She smiled. Her face looked kind and sweet. The boys outside the window giggled. Sophia looked back, glancing at Skye. He didn't care. He sat with his hands behind his head. 14 days had passed. All this time Sophia had been watching the boy. He seemed to be very bored in class. Sophia decided to go over to Skye's house. She wanted to discuss something after school. The girl would be waiting for him outside the school building. It was unexpected for Skye to be summoned by the royalty. He thought she was going to confess to him, but it couldn't be. It must be different. After school, Sophia waited for Skye. The men's dormitory of the academy. Room 167. Skye was sitting on the bed when suddenly someone knocked loudly on the door. He opened the door. It was Sophia. She reminded him that she had called him to the back of the school building after school. Skye confirmed, but he didn't think anything would come of it. Sophia didn't understand what he meant. He assumed that Sophia wanted to team up with him or fight one-on-one. Because a BB rank wizard is too prominent either way. Skye warned that he was not going to accept defeat face down. However, in her case, if he retaliated, his peaceful life would end. Sophia didn't know what he was talking about. That's not why she called him. It is not clear to Skye what she wants from him. It hit him. He thought she wanted to confess to him. It wasn't. Skye felt uncomfortable with these thoughts. Time to end this. The conversation is going in a silly direction. She has a statement for Skye. Sophia has stated that she is the best student of Ans Lancelot. Skye is shocked by this statement. Why did she suddenly say his master's name? Sophia joined Classy for a single reason. That reason was to declare war on Skye Vincent. The boy reported that he had heard about the weak physique. It was exactly like that. This is a story from the girl's childhood. The master was always by her side like a doctor. She also learned correct information about magic from him. But after returning from the journey, the only thing he talked about was Skye. This annoyed her greatly. Because of this, her weakness continued as it made her daily life very hectic. Then she finally met Skye. She thought that the man her teacher praised so much was incredible, but she was greatly disappointed as the boy didn't seem that special. Skye hesitated. He asked how Ans was doing. Sophia was angry that the boy was careless in saying the teacher's name. In any case, Skye should listen carefully. Sophia believes that Master Ans belongs to her alone. Skye might be a legendary Legless or something else, but Sophia had also reached 93% magical transformation speed. He could possess the master's attention by becoming a Legless first. But she would also soon become a Legless and then possess all of the master's attention. Until then, Skye can continue to enjoy her short-lived superiority over Sophia. The girl closed the door abruptly in front of Skye's nose. The boy wondered why Mistress Sophia was in the boys' dormitory. She's a hurricane. Skye sprawled out on the bed. He was very tired. Someone knocked on the door again. The boy assumed that Sophia's complaints were not over and it was her knocking. He stopped at the door noticing a note. The note invited him to come up for school as soon as possible. Skye thought it would be okay if he overpowered whoever sent it. He started kneading his fists. Skye pondered whether he knew the man who had sent him the note inviting him to go behind the school building. It was a guy with short hair. He was very angry because Skye made him wait for an hour. Apparently, he has no idea how big the area behind the school is. He needs to be more precise when he calls someone. The guy thinks that Skye is infinitely bold. Even if he is a BB rank mage, his character hasn't changed even after 5 years. Skye hesitated. He doesn't know who this guy is. The guy revealed that his name was Balanga Luck. He wouldn't let you forget him so easily. Balanga pointed at his chin, reminding Skye that he was so bent due to Skye's magic attack. Skye doesn't know the guy, but assumed that Balanga's chin runs in the family. The short-haired guy is convinced that Skye is cocky, but he has no intention of letting him act like that again. Balanga has been training hard for the past 5 years. This time he can't be bothered with his tricks. Skye reminded him that violence is forbidden on school grounds. But Balanga doesn't care. He brought witnesses with him. Balanga already has a version of what's going on. He came up with the idea that Skye tried to start a fight with him and he had no choice but to fight him back. Thus, Skye will be the only one to be punished. Balanga has prepared well. But Skye has proof too. It's a letter with his name on it. Balanga boasted that he had reached 12,000 in mana amount this year. He can use 56 different spells, and his magic has an affinity with superior water. All these marvelous numbers are amazing. This year's top student has 28,000 mana and is the biggest in this generation. Skye's numbers aren't that huge. Some guy tried to calm Balanga down by saying that according to his father, this year is very unusual. On average, the students have 10,000 mana. Balanga didn't like that. He was very angry with Skye. Even without reaching 1,000 mana, Skye dares to mock him. But Skye didn't laugh. He just doesn't think that the amount of mana is so important. But it is this behavior that annoys Balanga at Skye. Balanga had made up his mind. He didn't want to use it, but it looks like he'll have to use the rod. He proudly grabbed the rod made of pure gold. Genius Balanga also has a great affinity with his staff. The full power of his spells is increased by 1.3 of a factor. That's not much, since Skye's gain is 2.5. Balanga angrily stamped his feet. Skye exhaled tiredly. He would like to live a peaceful life if possible, but he has no intention of giving in to those who try to pick a fight with him. Skye is beginning to get annoyed by this. He suggests that they get down to business sooner rather than later. Balanga is beyond annoyed by this. He is ready to attack. There is no turning back now. Balanga used a novice magic spell, the consecutive water bullet. The time of the spell is 1 second. He doesn't know what Balanga's magic transformation speed is, but for now he has 1 second. and that was enough for Skye. He used his wand and deftly attacked Balanga. He didn't stand a chance. He's still too slow. There was some guy running along the roof. Skye stretched out at his desk. Behind his back the guys were chatting, discussing what they had heard. They were talking about Skye defeating Balanga. How did they know about it? It was unlikely that Balanga had told them about losing to BB the mage. Thanks to that, no one picks a fight with Skye. He seems to be having peaceful days. Sophia walked by and kicked the boy's chair. He realized that the days would not be so peaceful. Now he could live a peaceful school life. Eat and sleep peacefully. Skye, stretching, walked across the yard. He decided to go for a walk in the woods after such a long time. He heard something. Around the corner some guys were harassing the boy, thinking he was making fun of one of them. People like him better treat these guys with respect. Skye remembered 3 guys picking on him the same way. He tensed up. The 3 guys grabbed the boy. He asked them to stop. These guys are aristocrats. They can't wait to show him what will happen if he goes against them. One of them used magic by throwing out stone balls. Suddenly something hit that guy, hitting him. Skye was standing around the corner with a staff in his hands. The other guy jumped on the boy they were holding earlier. He thought this boy had done something to the head of their company. 2 more shots rang out, the remaining boys fell nearby, and the boy ran off. Skye was obviously pleased. He decided it was better to take a nap in his room after all. He was about to go, but someone reached for his arm. It was a tall guy and a girl. He slipped away from them. He wondered when the 2 had time to come up behind him, but more importantly, how long they had been standing there. The girl advised Skye not to be alarmed. Anyway, she was only interested in how Skye did it. She didn't quite understand it. Skye thought she meant they'd dodge from them, but she was referring to the spell he used to knock those aristocrats out. That Oni was surprised she couldn't see through him. Skye pretended not to know what she meant. He's making a fool of himself, but it's not a big deal. The girl introduced herself. Her name is Suran Historia, and she's the president of the student council. And the guy is Ragnar Kest, vice president. He was the one who was on the roof and saw Skye fighting Balanga. Ragnar said that Skye had a very interesting ability, so Suran had been following him for some time. The boy is not happy about being followed from the beginning. After all, he didn't even notice them. He remarks that Suran has an interesting hobby, for they should have intervened in that situation earlier. The student council's job is to oversee discipline in the school. Suran thought that the boy would deal with it. Whatever it is, she's interested in that spell. But Skye is not eager to tell her. Suran seems ready to use some force. Skye tenses. He has his staff ready for defense. She told the regulation of the Magic Academy. Paragraph 20. Using magic in individual battles without permission is punishable by punishment. Punishments are agreed upon by the teachers or the student council. Just then, Skye used his wand. Ragnar confirmed that he had seen it too. Aristocrats use their wands too, after all. It's unfair if only Skye is punished. Suran pointed out that the world and the student council, both are unfair. She won't punish him but will deal with the others later. It still comes out unfair. If Skye wants to stay in this academy, he should quietly follow them. Suran won't do anything wrong. Skye frowned. He had attracted the attention of some splinters. They came to the student council room and sat at a long table. Across from the couple sat Skye. Suran apologized for the rush, but she had a proposition for the boy. She suggested that he join the student council. Skye was taken aback by such an offer. 3 students would be chosen from this year's enrollment. She offered him one of the seats. The boy will have one advantage if he joins the student council. He will receive favorable treatment. For example, special privileges while he is in the academy, and a personalized budget. That rule forbidding the use of magic in the academy is not valid for student council members. The student council is the center of the Magic Academy. Suran's suggestion was very convincing. She eagerly awaits Skye's reply. The guy doesn't have the slightest desire to work in such a suspicious place. The girl reminded him that he already stood out too much. That's why he doesn't want to be more intrusive. If he can quietly graduate from this academy in 3 years, he will finally be able to free himself from this family and get 1/3 of the territory as a bonus. Skye has no intention of ruining his peaceful life by entering such a prominent position. Suran finds it strange that he will be given 1/3 of the territory. As far as she knows, the territory will be inherited in 10 years. Saul's second son Vincent will get the whole portion, following a summons sent to the royal family. It seems someone has made a mistake. Skye recalled a conversation with his father in which he had promised to give 1/3 of the entire territory even if Saul inherited the family property without incident. He hates his father. If that is the case, he is all the more likely not to join the student council. In fact, he intends to just say goodbye to this school life. All because he won't get the territory. He sees no benefit from being in this academy. Perhaps Skye underestimates the power of the Vincent family. After all, they're forcing him to attend this academy just in case something happens to Saul. So Skye's just an insurance policy. Now, if Skye drops out, their dignity will take a hit. That means they will have a hard time finding a successor for the Vincent family. Then it will make the Count very angry. Skye doesn't care about their anger. If they get in his way, he will deal with them. But they won't cause a problem right away. The boy should really try to visualize the threat posed by the angry Earl family. Most likely, for the rest of his life, he will be dragged into nasty events against his family. This is probably the furthest thing from his desire to live a peaceful life. Søren and Ragnar want the boy to stay at the academy. Moreover, Søren is willing to provide him with anything he wants if he joins the student council. As a member of the ducal family of Historia, she made a promise. The Historia family is one of the 3 ducal families in the kingdom of Nashor. When viewed from the perspective of an ordinary person, the Earl Vincent family has great authority. But it is said that from the perspective of the Vincent family, the Historia family has a more majestic power. Søren smiled sweetly as she sat opposite. Even her promise was only in words. Søren was willing to deal with the documents later. Skye wondered why Søren was so eager for him to join the student council. She explained that it is because he is very interesting. She can understand his suspicions, but if he joins the student council, he will have many opportunities that he didn't have as a BB mage. There didn't seem to be any disadvantages here. Skye sat frowning. He asked what Søren wanted. She had one job for him. Just like he did with those adventurers, Søren wants them to control the students with that mysterious magic. Skye is surprised by this job. Controlling it is not so peaceful. Last year they received only 59 complaints of magic-related violence. If they combine the incidents that were not reported to them, it is safe to say that the total number of cases would be in the 3 digits. That's a lot. But Skye had already seen this situation. This academy is a mirror of the current society. The aristocrats unite and bully the weak residents. Søren thinks that Skye hated that scene in which he used his power to stop the aristocrats. But the boy is sure that it was on a whim. He has no such sense of justice. The girl disagrees with this. She can't ignore it since he believes it was done on a whim. Perhaps his nature made him act that way. Søren spread her arms out to the sides. He just has to join the student council. A capable person should be in a position where he can hone his abilities further. Søren thinks that the student council is the right place for Skye to show all his abilities. Skye doesn't know what to choose. The peace that was promised or a new path ahead of this storm. He decides to accept Søren's offer and takes the student council bracelet. He will join the student council, but he will quit right away if he gets bored. Will Skye's decision be a blessing or a curse? There will be a ceremony where students will make a pact with their familiars. The children are encouraged to choose the surname that best suits their needs. The students noticed the student council armband on Skye's arm. They wondered why he was wearing it. It was a rather expected reaction to his joining the student council. The students were asked to be quiet. Now they need to choose a surname more suitable for them. The dark-haired guy thinks that the best choice is a dragon. The other guy supported him. The dragon is cool and strong. There is no reason for them to choose something else. The teacher will hand out the tools needed for the contract. One guy chose the dragon. It's Skye's turn to choose a surname. What kind of familiar does he want? Skye chose a humanoid magician. Such magicians are familiars of the fairy tale type. But what are familiars? First of all, familiars don't live in this world. They dwell in a special dimension, the spirit realm. From there, they are summoned into this world. They are completely subservient to the contractor and cannot cause harm at will. If they are injured during a fight, 2-3 days of spending in the spirit realm will fully restore them. They won't die as long as their contractor is alive. That's what familiars are. It's time to start to perform the contract ceremony. First, you must drop a drop of blood on the plate. Then surround it with your magic. Skye did the necessary. A bright blinding light appeared. A familiar in the form of a small clown appeared from the box. He was quite cute. To contract him, Skye has pretty good taste. This familiar has the voice of a grown man. It's a magician. Its ability is a trick creator. It can cause all kinds of changes by adding conditions to magic spells. Satisfying the conditions increases the contrarion's ability. Otherwise, it decreases the ability. Skye doesn't think he's cute at all. But his appearance aside, his ability is just perfect for Skye's fighting style if used correctly. The magician asked if Skye wanted to use his ability now or when he was alone. The boy chose the option without other people. The magician got bored and said goodbye to the boy. This familiar is pretty annoying. Class is over. Skye needs to go back to the dormitory and continue the contract ceremony. He saw something on the blackboard. An invitation to come to the student council room after school appeared in front of him. This annoyed the guy. A guy passing by thought Skye was showing off. He said that Skye was acting too arrogant. This bulletin board is usually only used by teachers. The guy is not happy with it being used for his personal business. Skye's selfishness, in this guy's opinion, skyrocketed after joining the student council. Skye admitted the mistake. He would keep the remark in mind and would not be singled out from the next day. There was one more thing. This guy didn't like him from the start, and joining the student council before they even knew about it was too suspicious for this guy. Skye thought about how he wished he could live a quiet life. Someone called out to him. It was that guy again. He offered to fight a formal duel. It was expected that Skye didn't know about them. The guy caught the attention of the other students, asking them to postpone their trip to the dormitory and listen to him. They, as first-year students, hadn't been told yet, but this guy has an older brother, so he knows a bit of information about this academy. In this academy, there is an event called Official Duel where students are allowed to use magic against the opponent. From the beginning of next month, first-year students will be allowed to duel with an opponent of their choice once a week. The winner will assign 1 point to their scorecard. Among the students, many students got into this class because of a random test topic. The boys resented this distribution. Guy urged everyone to fix things by their own efforts if they thought the decision was unfair. He intends to keep winning official fights to reach a grade. He has already come up with the first step to accomplish this. That step was defeating a BB mage to become a member of the student council. The guy would make Skye vacate the seat if he won. Skye agreed, although he has no right to decide this. The guys proceeded to vote on who would win, Skye or Tatsu. Sophia walked past Skye. She informed him that she would be voting for him. Sophia hopes that Mr. Legendary Lagless will not lose. That has already been determined. The girl will look forward to it. Student council room. Surin greeted Skye and apologized for the sudden call. She wanted to introduce him to some people, so she called him to this room. Surin introduced him to a boy named Pusto Gurelga. He is a second-year boy. Contrary to his appearance, he is very capable and will one day replace Surin's post. Pusto said hello to Skye. He heard from the president that Skye is very serious. He wants to get along with Lagless. There was another girl in the room. She is younger. Her name is Reme. She is a freshman, just like Skye. Reme became a member of the student council that day. She also wants to get along with the boy who became a member of the student council before her. Reme squeezed Skye's outstretched hand with both hands. He was in pain, but Ramesh shook his hand quite lightly. This girl is very kind and honest, but she is a little angry right now because Surin made a mistake with the recruitment order. It was obvious that she was very angry. Reme is a commoner who lives on the Vincent family's property. She had achieved incredible strength since she was a child. When she entered the academy, Skye promised her that she would be the first to join the student council. It seems that Surin was wrong about that and Skye joined first. Skye clarified that there are no privileges by joining first. But we need to leave all that aside. Reme has a proposal. They made a contract with their familiars today. With this, they now look like full-fledged mages. She suggested that Skye try to test his powers as a full-fledged mage. Reme talked about official duels. She is willing to completely destroy Skye's insane magic. He noticed that he had heard the same thing recently. Perhaps it's some kind of pattern among the attempts. They are serious about fighting each other. Surin wants them to get along normally. Skye went into his room. He was thinking about what was wrong with Reme, but he shouldn't think about that right now. Right now he needs to focus on something else. He summoned his familiar. The magician appeared. He reported that he could work miracles and failures. He could create something interesting, but fighting like a dragon was not possible for him. That was enough for Skye. He pondered over the magician's name. The name Clown had been suggested to the familiar, but there wasn't much difference. Skye asked him to perform a miracle and crash on his magic bullet. A miracle can alter the magical nature or enhance the power of spells. It can even let the power go beyond the theory of magic. A collapse can be anything. Events that negatively affect the contractor and occur as compensation for miracles happening. The clown is aware of his contractor's magic. He uses bullets that are completely broken and suppressed. The magician has contracted many magicians, but someone like Skye, who uses special magic, is the first. Skye counted it as a compliment. He inquired about any restrictions on the formation of a trick creator. The clown replied that there are no limits. There is no limit. Now the request must be said. 1 bullet of Skye can destroy the whole earth. What is the compensation for this miracle? As payment, the clown will send the boy to another world. The magnitude of the discussion is staggering. But Skye isn't actually going to do it. The magician can do it, but will not perform it, even if the boy begs him. Even if he says he can do such incredible things, they won't come true unless he admits them. This is the magician. He fell asleep on the lamp. Skye is up to something. He wants to raise the power of the magic bullet spell. A magician can do this, but it seems to be a specialty of dragon types. Dragons can only increase the power by a factor of 1.2 at best. That's not enough for Skye. The clown inquired to what degree the strength should be increased. The boy named a value of 1250, which is above the power of an advanced spell. The magician is willing to do it, but there is no need to hurry. The boy covered his mouth with his hand. The strength of the spell will increase by 2.5 times. Who knows what will be required of him as compensation? This kid is feisty. The clown wants to hear the continuation of his request. For one thing, Skye wants the trickster to increase the power in increments. Then the collapse will be less extreme compared to the instantaneous increase. He has indeed prepared well. The next step, he'll add some conditions to increase the power. More specifically, he wants the familiar to increase power by 10%. It's getting difficult, but Clown is willing to do anything. Fear of collapse is the right idea. The condition for the power increase is that the magic bullet hits the enemy. Increase power by 10%. If it hits an opponent's magic, or if it physically blocked him with a shield, or if it was blocked with a defense spell, Skye wants it to directly hit in all of the above cases. But if it is erased by the opponent's magic, then there is a miss. Now this is an extraordinary characteristic. But if the magic bullet is absorbed, then there will be a hit. The magician listened attentively to the boy's gradually increasing conditions. The increase will be 10%, but the base will remain the original spell power of 500. One hit will increase the power to 550. A second hit will also increase the power to the same degree and will reach 600. Next, on the increase of power, the upper limit will be 2000. Here the clown hesitated. Skye seemed to be finished with his explanation, and it was the magician's turn to answer him. He thought about what he should do. The clown said that the boy had a very good nickname, suggesting that he was called a magician with a weak stomach. That nickname was BB the Magician. Skye thought that familiars knew everything about their contractors. He had read about it in a book. The magician whispered in his ear that the boy was going through a lot due to the small amount of mana. He intends to make this lack of mana even more painful. If the magic bullet hits an opponent, the power of the spell will increase by 10%. However, if the boy misses, the magic bullet will cost 10% more. If the magic bullet is wiped out by an opponent, it will count as a miss. This is the magician's answer to the inquiry. Skye hesitated for a moment. The clown was indeed aiming at a sore spot. The boy agreed to such terms. Skye's magic bullets are ready. He is sure that none of them will miss the target. It's settled. Trick creator hit or miss, the shaping is complete. The magician says goodbye to Skye. He will call on him when needed. Trick creator is a very interesting power. Next day, Skye drank the juice. It was very tasty. It was cereal juice, a special provision for school board members. There weren't many days left until the official duel. For the moment, things were pretty peaceful. Suddenly, Skye heard something disappear. There were two boys talking in the hallway about second-year students disappearing. Skye didn't care. After all, it didn't apply to him. Ramesh snuck up on Skye. He wasn't expecting. She reported that those students had told their friends that they had gone to the Adventurers Guild. The president of the council assigned them a job. The next day, they would go to look for those sophomores. Skye made an annoyed and dissatisfied face. But it can't be helped. We have to do this task for the sake of the cereal juice. Ramesh and Skye set off on their journey. Before the official duel, was this a welcome pairing? Skye shouldn't fall behind Ramesh. Ramesh and Skye approached the dungeon. They silently descended the stairs. Skye wondered why they, the first years, should be the ones looking for the missing second years. Ramesh ignored him, staring at the map. Skye noticed a sword at her side. Perhaps it was her staff. A sword-shaped one capable of slicing into pieces, used in close combat. Surely she must have an affinity suitable for close combat, like light or earth. The boy frowned. He called out to Ramesh. She drew her sword. Weapon enhancement. Light affinity medium spell. Spell time is 3 seconds. Strengthens the target weapon by enveloping it in light for 3 minutes. Skye marveled at such a weapon. The spell's time of effect is 3 whole 75/100ths of a second. That's 80% of the speed of magic transformation. Quite impressive. Once strengthened, Ramesh's wand becomes 10 times sharper for the next 3 minutes. If Skye didn't want to get hurt, he shouldn't mess around. He decided to just watch and learn. The boy will be watching her. A silhouette appeared in the distance. It was a monster resembling a wolf, a kobold. Ramesh used a movement with the speed of light, allowing her to instantly wound the monster. Light speed movement is a spell for moving a target point at the speed of light. Skye noticed that Ramesh was skillful with the sword. She is very strong. Many mages are the same, but they are too slow. No matter how strong the spell is, it's useless against Reme. The boy should remember that. There are still a lot of monsters. Skye may be nearby. Reme agrees to tell the president that he did a good job too. The boy has his rod ready. The girl doesn't care how many more kobolds attack her. She is ready for battle. Reme set up confidently. She took a swing of her sword, but something happened. The kobold is defeated. Reme didn't have time to strike the monster. Skye did it for her. He felt it would be unfair if his rival was the only one to reveal her abilities before the official fight. This guy isn't exactly slow either. Reme doesn't seem to like this guy's act. She ignores him again. She hesitated for a moment that she didn't notice anything. Even though she was moving at full speed, his spell was much faster. Moreover, it takes an above-average spell to slay a kobold with a single blow. Could it be that Skye had released so much power in such a short period of time? Reme wants to know the secret of this shot. The boys went further. They saw the magic circle marking the boss. It seems to be the deepest point of the dungeon. Reme denies that the sophomores reached this place, but it seems that they did. They saw some guys behind the huge monster. It's the king of the orcs. The second-year girls are there, too. They're being used for something. The monster won't attack while the boys are in the tunnel, but as soon as they cross the boss's territory, he'll start fighting. Orc King is a boss monster with over 100,000 health and mana. He uses this bunker and massive mana to consistently fire advanced level spells. Does Reme know how to deal with advanced spells? She definitely knows that. This boss isn't a hindrance to them. The guys summoned their familiars, Clown and Pino. The familiars came. Reme's was Thunderbird, a fairy type. It has the ability to increase its master's movement speed by enveloping him with lightning. It can also envelop itself in lightning and fight. Skye, this familiar resembles a chicken. Reme suggested ending it. Time to get started. Skye took a step, stepping out of the tunnel. The boss immediately heard him. The monster roared. He is ready to attack. Reme deftly parries the monster's attacks. The boss attacked Skye, but he managed to dodge. The boy used the Trick Creator spell. Hit or miss. Increase the power by 10% on a hit. Increase spell cost by 10% on a miss. Skye attacks the monster. It made a sound like a song. It was a spell. The property of darkness is a beginner's spell. Magic Reflection. The time to cast the spell is 1 second. The duration is 10 seconds. After an attack with the spell, reflects it back to the enemy with double the force. A reckless spell suitable for an orc king with his high health. It was dangerous. Skye concentrated. A single strike of the magic bullet reached 2000. The monster began to cast an advanced level spell. This is a wave of darkness. A wave of dark miasmas will rush at the same time as him at its center. The magic reflection will last for 10 seconds, and the wave of darkness will activate in 11 seconds. The guys won't be able to overpower it in just 1 second. Moreover, they won't be able to escape from there. This whole place will be hit by this wave. If they can't eliminate it, they will disappear. Reme used a wave. This is a property of light, an advanced level. It envelops the weapon with light, allowing powerful attacks. 10 seconds have elapsed. The magic reflection is deactivated. The monster applied a wave of darkness. A ball formed around him. At the same moment, Skye and Reme applied their attacks. The sophomores lay motionless. The boy decided to block the monster's movements. Reme needed to fight it. The monster immobilized. It was Reme's turn. She slew the monster. The battle ends successfully. The Orc King is defeated. Skye thinks it was easy, but Reme disagrees with him. In the past, to defeat the boss, she fought for 3 hours, but this time it took no more than a minute. Skye is not only fast, he's on another level altogether. The boy matched the sophomores. Reme stood nearby. She thought about how she had rashly challenged Skye to a duel. The boys had made a good profit on this Orc King. The captured sophomores had been sent home earlier, but in the end, Reme donated most of the money to the orphanage. It was her decision. To prove that Skye could do the same, he too donated money to the orphanage. This was unexpected for Reme. She was curious about the reason for this donation. The boy explained that he had made a promise to someone. Earlier, in the cafeteria, a boy had approached him. He wanted to talk to Skye. This guy's name is Asker. He wanted to say something to Skye. He ducked his head and thanked him for his charity to the orphanage. Skye thinks he didn't do anything, but he didn't. The orphanage children said he gave them money after coming from the Adventurers Guild. It was because he earned a lot before coming to the academy. Skye doesn't need that much money since he is a loner. This is what was expected of Skye. Asker admires him. He too is from such an orphanage. When he tagged them recently, the fosterer cheerfully told him about Skye. Skye is only glad if it helps someone. If he makes a lot of money in the Adventurer Guild again, he will donate it to the orphanage again. Asker thanked him. It appeared that Skye had just sincerely kept his promise. Reme can't believe it. She wanted to buy souvenirs for the president, visit that popular ice cream shop. That money would be enough for her younger brother's next schooling. Skye was annoyed by Reme's reasoning. He thought a lot while watching her. Reme creates an image of being arrogant in school, but the reality is different. In the boy's opinion, she is the kind of person who will not abandon the weak. She is a kind-hearted girl. Reme can't believe that Skye really thinks that. She wonders if that is really the case. The boy still has some money left. He suggests that Reme go to that ice cream shop. A couple days later, the rules for official duels and student rankings were finally posted. A crowd of students had formed near the blackboard, and they were scrutinizing the information on the blackboard. It appeared that it was time for official duels. First on the list was Arietta Tungaloy, followed by Reme, then Kuzin and Balanga Lak. In the 134th place was the name Asker. Reme is really that strong. It was expected of her. Asker is right in the middle. It's very much like him to be average. Skye warned him that if he talked to him, he would make himself look bad. But Asker doesn't care about that. Where does Skye stand? He's probably at the very end, since he's a BB mage. Skye Vincent was in 249th place. Right behind him was Tartan. The boy was surprised that he wasn't the very last. Asker tried to cheer him up by telling him that it was a good thing. The teachers must have noticed his good attitude. Standing around the corner was Tartan. He was out of breath after learning that he was in last place, below the BB mage. This guy's E-class. Official fights will be held weekly for 2 months, 10 fights per day. Each participant may participate in 1 battle per week. You are allowed to choose your own opponent, or an opponent with a similar rank will be randomly selected. Students are free to enter the arena, but outsiders will have to pay to watch the battle. If someone wins for 2 or 3 years, they will have a permanent audience. Rumor has it that students who attract spectators under their own name will receive special rewards from their teachers. Currently, the student who attracts the most viewers is Student Body President Ranger Kest. He has remained undefeated in his 3 fights. Right behind him in popularity is Student Council President Surun. The day of the official bouts has arrived. Skye Vincent vs Kono Tatsu. On Skye's right side, Class E, rank 249. Lana 999. No affinity. Useful techniques 4 types. Combat record 0 wins and 0 losses. Katsu on the left side. Class E, rank 201. Mana 1980. Fire affinity. 16 types of useful techniques. Combat data 0 wins and 0 losses. A guy in the crowd is surprised that Skye has such a small amount of mana. Another guy realized that it was the same BB mage who entered this year. They doubt that he knows how to use magic and is unlikely to last more than a minute. Reme has stepped in for Skye. She thinks he will prevail. Will he admit defeat? Reme's opponent was supposed to be a BB student in Class E. If she does so, her rank will drop. Reme knows this and realizes that she won't be able to oppose him for now. It was unheard of for an A-class student to refuse to fight an E-class student. The teachers decided to keep it a secret from the other students. They had to raise Skye Vincent's rank by 1 or 2. Skye, standing in the arena, turned around and saw Reme. He smiled at her. The host asked about the guy's agreement to join the battle. They both agree. First of all, a magic barrier is used for the students. It is a special magical armor surrounding the body. This barrier has about 20,000 defenses. For safety precaution, once the defense of the barrier falls below 10,000, the duel will be considered over. Hand-to-hand combat is still possible, but attacks to the eye or crotch are a violation of the rules. Skye summoned the magician. He appeared right in front of his master's face. Tatsu summoned his familiar as well. It was the Holy Dragon. It doesn't attack physically, but it increases magical power by 1.5 times, compared to 1.2 of normal dragons. The boys are ready. The battle begins. Skye intends to end this fight quickly. He points his staff at Tatsu, but there appears to be some sort of veil between the duelists. Skye has not seen such magic before, so it was that kid's power. Since it won't change anything, Tatsu is going to explain something. He explained to Skye that this is the holy wall he created with his dragon. It rejects all magic. He also added the condition that he couldn't cast a spell from the opponent's side, but in return he made it as strong as possible. Skye decided to test it and took a shot. Nothing happened. The strength of the magic bullet is 550. This one will count for an increase in strength. If it counts, then he should increase the strength to 2000. He is curious to see if this wall is really invulnerable. However, Skye doesn't have much mana. He doesn't want to drag out the fight. Tatsu smirked. Balanga told him that the BB mage uses cunning techniques, but as long as the wall stands, he won't be able to hit. Tatsu suggested that Skye quietly behold how he would enchant his strongest magic. The boy understood his opponent's plan. Tatsu has an affinity with fire, as well as a lot of strong and high-level magic. As soon as Tatsu casts a spell, he will open the wall and attack. With the Holy Dragon and the Magic Gauntlet increasing his power, he should be confident in his abilities. This is a great idea, but this strategy is full of flaws. Skye ran toward Tatsu. He passed through the magic wall, ending up in front of Tatsu. He clearly wasn't expecting this. Skye threw a punch at his opponent. If the wall only protects against magic, the guy can just hit. Tatsu fell down. The audience was shocked. Skye declared that his opponent had lost. The fight was over. Skye Vincent has been declared the winner. The audience is outraged. They think that using hand-to-hand combat is a cheap trick. They should use magic. Someone in the crowd asked for a refund. The clone was also bored because he wasn't doing anything. He went to take a nap. Skye left the arena. He looked at the table. He was in 248th place, followed by Tatsu Kono, then Tartan. Skye was resentful, for he had defeated rank 201st and should have gone higher. It wasn't fair that he only went up one rank per duel. The two guys passing by considered Skye a coward since he didn't use magic in an official duel. He's the worst even for a BB rank. Reme got angry after hearing that. If they had something to say, they could say it to her. The guys got scared and left. She said that Skye made a mess. If he had defeated Tatsu fair and square, his reputation would have been enhanced instead of hand-to-hand combat. But it wasn't against the rules. He should just stop doing things that provoke hostility. If he showed his true strength, people would treat him differently. It is normal for second and third graders to use physical strength during a fight. But not all first years can attack physically when they are focused on spells. In other words, Skye is overdoing it. He doesn't seem to care about that. Tatsu Kono is quite popular in E-class. If Skye hurts a student like that, he won't be in a normal relationship with the class anymore. But there was no such relationship. Skye asked Reme why it took Tatsu a month to recover. He thought that no one could get hurt during an official fight. Reme decided to answer straightforwardly. A person who takes a month to recover from such a blow is just a weakling. The boy had a thought. He asked Reme about her katana. Skye thinks it's her thing to use the speed of light to get to her opponent, and then punish him with her katana. Reme objected. She's not that fancy. If she uses magic with her staff to attack, the magic barrier will detect it as a magic attack. In other words, even if she hits someone with an enhanced magic attack, it will only affect the barrier without leaving a scratch on the target itself. Skye kept up with her questions. Does it matter which part of the body it hits? Would the magic barrier take the same damage? Out of the goodness of her heart, the girl is willing to answer these questions. The damage to the neck will be greater. The damage will be greater on such a hit. It is written in the 36th page of the official combat manual. The boy should read it carefully. Reme hopes that he will succeed in the next fight. They think he is clumsy. That girl is so careless in insulting him. Asker thinks she doesn't mean it. But Skye is not angry. Asker smirks. Skye lay in bed and read a book. It said that the damage in battle was equal to the damage a person would normally take. Someone knocked on the door. The knocking didn't stop. He opened the door. There was a girl. She apologized for disturbing him, clarifying if it was really Skye Vincent from the student council. He confirmed that it was. The girl was embarrassed, but asked Skye for help. She went into his room. Skye inquired as to what exactly she needed his help with. It might be better to go to Reme or someone else in a class, but she didn't need help from a losing girl. She needs Skye since he's on top of the official duels. She reported that she knew the reason why he won both bouts, but Skye was only involved in one fight. The girl revealed that Reme accepted defeat without ever fighting him. She boasted that she had some sort of connections that made her aware of it. Skye wondered if she really meant the fretful and profane Reme. He would have to ask her himself. Skye wondered what he could do to help this girl. The girl introduced herself. Her name is Fulman Afora. She is the precious daughter of Baron Afford. She is in class. Fulman proceeded with her inquiry. She cried out for Skye to help her win 10 times in the tournament. The boy is shocked by such a request. Fulman's father said that if she couldn't win 10 victories, he wouldn't let her go to the second year. He told her to find a good match and get married. In Skye's opinion, it sounds cruel. He intends to say goodbye to Fulman, but she asks him to be more serious by promising a perfect reward. Ever since she was born, she has been able to use unusual magic. Long ago, a wandering magician taught her forbidden magic, as he said. Ans had mentioned forbidden magic a little. Skye wondered what she could do with that magic. In simpler terms, it's discussions with the familiar. But she doesn't need that. Her familiar is humanoid. Fullman can talk to him as it is. Of course, that's not all. With this discussion, one can reveal the hidden powers of the surname's surname, which perhaps even he himself didn't know about. Skye is shocked. This discussion is very exhausting, so she rarely uses it. In this way, Fullman can extract more power. She thinks that Skye is not eager to help her. He is happy to give her advice. He shared that the top 30 students who are victorious receive special awards from the government. But for now, a girl only needs to get 10 wins to make her father satisfied. Skye asked about the award she would like to receive. The girl asked about the heirloom healer. Skye told her that when familiars are injured, they return to their world and are completely healed in a few days. Even though Skye is on the student council, he still doesn't have much information. The girl shames the guy. Healer of familiars is a job she's trying to create. The guy got angry because he couldn't know that. Fullman made an innocent face. She uses her magic to heal familiars and works on resolving familiars' problems and stress. Since the demand was low, the girl failed. But if she can create this job as a special reward, she can make a living in the state for the rest of her life. She seems to have a strong fixation on it. Skye understands her intentions and is willing to make a deal. He will help her win 10 times, and in return, Fullman will have to reveal Clown's hidden powers with his forbidden magic. The girl agrees to this condition of the deal. She can't wait to find out how to win 10 times. First, she should demonstrate her magic. Skye needs concrete proof as it is very suspicious. Guy called out to the clown. From was happy to be called out more often. Skye wants to know if his familiar is manifesting new abilities or if he is just strengthening his body. Fullman explained that it depends on the individual. She would only be able to find out after she tried it. Skye thought that whatever it was still considered a benefit. He asked Fullman to proceed. She agreed. The girl pressed her hands to her chest and closed her eyes. Skye thought she was singing, but it didn't feel like it. A small ball appeared near her forehead. The orb grew larger. The girl opened her eyes. Skye watched in amazement. The orb moved and ended up above her index finger. She waved her hand at the clown. He moved closer and Fullman put the orb to him. The orb penetrated the familiar. The girl finished. She thinks she awakened something in Clown. Skye hesitated for a moment. He inquired about the changes his familiar felt, but he felt nothing. Clown looked the same as usual. Perhaps his abilities have increased. Guy wouldn't want Fullman to recognize his abilities, but he wants to try out the clown now. He asked him to create a trick creator about the magic wave. By creating a magical condition, one can cause any kind of change. If the condition is fulfilled, one's abilities increase. The clown folded his arms on his chest. He was curious about what his contractor was going to do. The guy explained that he wanted to increase the output of his magic wave. The power of such a wave is 100. The property is empty. It is a low-level spell with a casting time of 1 second. It is often used to increase the distance between opponents. Currently, Skye would throw someone 5 meters away from himself. He asked to double this spell. If nothing changed, this condition would cost half the power. The clown looked questioningly at Skye. Something was wrong. The clown offered to increase Skye's strength as well. He was surprised. The boy agreed to it. The clown proceeded to cast a spell. The deal is finalized. This is bye-bye, fly away, from the creator of subterfuge. Skye frowned. Fullman looked at him questioningly. The trick creator suddenly became strong. The spell doubled without demanding anything in return. This is the power of awakening. Now the guy wants to redo the magic bolt deal. The clown refused. He doesn't want to use the trick creator right now. The familiar has returned to his world. Everything was clear to Skye now. Awakening had cost quite a lot of energy. The guy had no idea that forbidden magic was so powerful. Although it was forbidden, it piqued the guy's interest. Fullman wondered if the spell had worked. It was a success. Thanks to her, Skye now had more ways to improve his magic. He thanked the girl and would take care of the 10 victories. But first, he invited Fullman to watch his duel. There she would see how to win a magical battle. The girl agreed to come if she had no plans. Skye huffed. She just had to come. The second week of official duels. On the right side of Skye, Vincent. Classy, rank 248. Mana, affinity, and utility data remained unchanged. They only counted 1 victory in the combat data. They hadn't counted the defeat of Rame yet. On the left side was Lark's Gosies. Class B, rank 52. His mana amount 3,400. Earth affinity, 21 types of useful techniques, 0 wins and 0 losses. A rather large crowd of people had gathered. Skye is ready to show how to win duels. Fullman is worth watching closely. Fullman stood up and waved to someone. The guys need to prepare their familiars. The clown is here again. He doesn't seem to feel tired anymore. He seems to have fully recovered. Larks turned to the BB mage. He didn't care if Skye was crippled like Tatsu, his familiar earth dragon. The physical and destructive power of such a dragon is unrivaled by any other dragon. The opponents are ready, and the battle begins. Skye has prepared his staff. The protagonist made a dash to the side. The dragon stomped its paws. Then Skye hit it with magic bullets. As expected of an earth dragon, it didn't even move. The guy fired another shot. He realized that Larks was using his familiar as a shield. He makes good use of the earth dragon's durability. For now, he decided to just increase the power of the magic without stopping firing. The shots didn't stop. Skye noticed that his opponent was not counterattacking. After numerous shots, the guy finally found his opponent, who had been hiding behind his familiar all this time. He fired another shot, the bullet flying straight at the point. Larks deftly dodged the bullet. He was not hit. He stopped next to his familiar and glared defiantly at Skye. The clown reminded him that as a punishment for 6 misses, his mana usage would increase by 1.6 of a factor. Normally, it would be impossible to avoid all of Skye's attacks at once. It turns out that Larks used body reinforcement. It's a property of the earth. The spell casting time is 4 seconds, increases the body's physical stats. He managed to cast this spell in 6 seconds while Skye was attacking the dragon, so his magic transformation rate is somewhere around 70%. The dragon roared, raising its head. In this time, the guy managed to shoot 100 times, using a double spell. The dragon fell down. It began to be sucked into another world. Normally, Larks' earth dragon could repel 10 high-end spells, but it was defeated. Larks looked back at his familiar during the battle. Skye, taking advantage of this, hit him in the leg. His opponent fell. The guy asked with a sneer what was wrong and why his opponent fell to his knees from a mere blow. A guy in the crowd caught the attention of the others by pointing his finger up. Larks took 2,000 damage from a single magic bullet. This spell was more powerful than the high-grade spells. Someone suggested that the system had simply broken. There was no way Larks could himself, a B-class mage, lose to a BB mage. Skye would like to hit his opponent with a magic bullet. But first he must teach Fulman some tricks. He started to recite a spell. Skye took a comfortable position to defend himself. Larks ran toward him. He jumped, stretching his arm forward. Skye took a step to the side. He dodged the attack. You have to keep moving even when you spell. Beginners often lose because they are too focused on the spell and do not move. If the mage realizes this, his chances of winning will increase. Skye released a powerful magic wave at his opponent. With that, he threw Larks backwards. The magic wave dealt 200 damage. The recoil increased as well. Skye noticed that for now, fly away the trick creator really worked. A magic wave usually costs 50 mana. With the current increase of 1.6 of a factor, it became 80. With an approximate mana consumption of 100 magic bullets, he had about 820 left. Skye grinned. He was up to something. Since he had already shown Fulman everything he wanted, there was no need to procrastinate any further. He pointed the rod. This is the end of it. Skye fired several shots. A large flash formed at Lark's side. His opponent was defeated. The spectators were shocked. Only Fulman was very happy that Skye had defeated his opponent. The winner was Skye Vincent. There was talk among the crowd of spectators again. But for Skye, it was more important that Fulman understood. She was very happy that he had won. The girl pestered the boy, bragging that Skye had won. Fulman stood up and shouted his name. Rameh thought of Skye casting glances in her direction before the fight and during the battle. She decided that he had fallen in love with her. Goosebumps ran down the boy's body. A guy named Tartan has always been unlucky. Even though he was born into a noble family, when he was young, their wagon fell off a cliff. He never saw his family since then. But this was a hidden blessing, for he was found and raised by a wise man who lived in the mountains. Barely surviving, the boy diligently studied magic with the sage. He sacredly believed that if he entered the magic academy, he would be able to see his family again someday. After coming down from the mountains, he quickly passed the academy entrance exam. Thanks to the sage's teachings, he did well in the written exam and performed even better in the practical exam. In a battle to find out his strength, he defeated his opponent, who was the teacher. It was quite impressive. Out of several hundred participants, only 4 could do it. Of course, all 4 were accepted. Tartan, who stood out in both the oral and practical exams, was sure he would get into the A class. However, a paper was brought to him stating that he was enrolled in the E class. There was a rumor that it was because of the kind of magic he used in the exam, and he only used one kind of magic. It didn't matter how good his grades or mana was. It was explained to Tartan that if he used only one kind of magic, of course he would get into Class E. He collapsed on all fours. He thought about the day he had come down the mountain. The boy remembered the words of the sage who had taught him magic that many would call forbidden. Tartan paid no attention to these words. He wanted to get to the city sooner. The boy was angry because forbidden magic was not popular. He clenched his hand into a fist. The academy has an official combat system. There are no rules that prohibit the use of forbidden magic. Tartan had planned to overpower everyone with his power, but he was out of luck again. He was in seat number 250. The boy was lower than a BB mage and he didn't understand how this was possible. He had the worst score. He had caught up with Skye Vincent. Tartan challenged him to an official fight. Skye agreed without too many questions. Tartan was ready to vent all his anger on his opponent. They faced each other in battle. Skye Vincent was on the right side. His rank was 198. He also had 3 victories and 0 defeats to his credit. On the left side was Tartan. His rank was 250. His mana amount was 5,600, one type of technique. He had 0 victories and 0 defeats on his account. He had been waiting for this day for 3 weeks. Skye has risen in rank. If Tartan managed to win, his rank would definitely jump up. The start of the fight is announced. Tartan is confident he can win and all the attention Skye gets will go to him. He's already starting to imagine the crowd cheering when his name is called. And when he became famous, he would finally meet his family. Tartan was thinking too hard and didn't notice the magic bullet already approaching him. Skye fired several times. His opponent was defeated. He had won again. Tartan looked at the table. His rank was still 250. He remembered the magic bullet. It was so fast and cool. Suddenly he saw a light. An information appeared on the scoreboard. It said that based on complaints from teachers and students, Skye Vincent's magic bullet was considered a rule violation. Hence its use was forbidden in official battles. Tartan was very surprised. He didn't understand how this precise and beautiful bullet could be against the rules. But suddenly he realized something. Skye tensely studied this information, trying to figure out what was wrong with magic bullets. Someone called out to him, urging him not to get distracted. It was the girls, Reme and Fulman. They told him that because of fear and envy, bad rumors were starting to spread in the academy. Fulman reported that Reme had told her everything. Skye was popular as always, but he thinks that everyone is just making unnecessary noise. Reme reminded that he has been called for more fights. She is worried about him. Skye decides to back out of it. The girls are surprised by this statement. If he refuses, it will be considered a defeat. Skye knows this. He doesn't want to fight when the odds are stacked against him. He didn't care about this tournament from the beginning. Skye is frustrated that he cannot confidently break the spirit of those who have challenged him. Reme thinks that he is not okay. Fulman will try to talk about this rule with the referees. There are many who may press the school with their strong influence, but not so strongly. Apparently it was the president. He can say that, but Fulman doesn't believe it. Sir Vincent and Balanga Lace seem to be behind it. Fulman is almost certain of it, but it's worth double checking and she'll come up with a plan. Until then, Reme shouldn't make a scandal. If she makes a bad decision, she will definitely stand out. Fulman thinks that Reme has been talking about him a lot lately, but the girl disagrees. She started to scandalize. Room number 167. Skye was sitting at the table reading something. He frowned. There was nothing about forbidden magic in the books as expected. He asked Fulman, but she couldn't answer properly. A knock on the door sounded. Skye thought about why so many people were coming to his room. He opened the door. There stood a blonde-haired guy. Skye remembered him. He had fought him recently. What did he want? Skye assumed that he wanted a rematch, since the protagonist couldn't use a magic bullet. The guy frowned. He apologized for the inconvenience and offered to help. It turned out that he had a plan to overturn the ban on the magic bullet that Skye was using. He bulged his eyes when he heard about it. Skye thanked the guy, but he had no intention to bat anymore. The guy didn't expect such a reaction from Skye. Tartan doesn't want Skye to give up just because his magic bullet was banned. This guy is persistent. If he uses Tartan's forbidden magic, it might solve the problem. Skye tensed up. He looked at the guy suspiciously. Tartan looked at him hopefully. Skye finally invited him in. He treated him to a cup of tea and asked him what forbidden magic he was talking about. But first, Tartan asked him to tell him how much he knew about forbidden magic. Skye knew next to nothing. He had seen someone using it the day before, that was all. He decided to keep quiet about Fulman. Tartan was sure that Skye knew someone who knew how to use this magic. When he hit him with his magic bullet the other day, he felt a power similar to forbidden magic. Also, the guy admitted that he can use forbidden magic. Skye hesitated. He didn't think his guest would talk about it so openly. After all, it is forbidden. Then he asked for more details about this magic. Tartan would gladly tell everything, for that was what he had come for. He had seen Skye's data. He was accepted with only 4 kinds of magic. They were Magic Wave, Magic Vortex, Magic Seal, and Invisibility. Magic Bullet belonged to the basic spell that everyone was taught, so it was not included in this list. The number of types of Tartan magic is 1. Skye fiddled. He'd made the point that this guy was lucky to have been taken at all, even though he had 4 kinds himself. But that's how he was officially rated by the school. Of course, Tartan can use more than 1 kind, but there's something. He has 700 species. Skye rolled his eyes, then he hesitated. Normally, the limit for a human is 100 species. If you include the basics, the maximum is a few species over 100. 700 species includes perhaps every possible species. He could end up using 700 species. This is simply impossible. Tartan smirked. He assumes what Skye is thinking. But it is possible that Skye could exceed the limit with forbidden magic. That intrigued Skye. His guest rejoiced. Would Tartan be willing to teach him? He exhaled. Tartan admitted that he wanted to be his friend. He fell in love with his magic bullet, so if he could help, he would do anything. Skye didn't expect such a confession from his guest, but he still had something else to say. The reason why he admires the magic bullet is, first, its power. In the second place, its accuracy. And third, this bullet is very fast. Not only did it hit Tartan, he didn't even have time to blink an eye. He didn't even see his opponent conjure it. His master had said that there were only a few people in the world that could conjure very quickly, and the ones at the top are the legendary No Delay. If fighting against No Delay, it's best to run. Even if a miracle happens, there's no chance of winning. Skye is surprised that Tartan knows this. His master is smart. He must have been in the same circumstances as Skye. His guest is confident that Skye can become No Delay. 7 Achromatic Devils. Only those with the attribute of emptiness can learn it. It is the strongest forbidden magic. Skye interrogated Tartan about the 7 colorless demons. He explained that it was the forbidden magic of possessing one's own body. If he performed the steps correctly and in the necessary order, he would be able to learn it in about a week. But that wasn't the main point. In order to skillfully use this technique, one must put in a lot of effort. First of all, one must start with what the magic of the 7 colorless demons is all about. Beginning to learn the spell, the boys meditated while sitting on the bed. Then they studied the information in the books. Tartan taught Skye a martial art. When Skye was alone, he never stopped learning this magic. The boys were tired and lay down. A week later, Tartan gave Skye a ring. He put it on the index finger of his right hand. Forbidden magic is different from other magic in that once a mage learns it and uses it, he can't stop. Thus, the magician restrains this power in a ring. Of course, if the ring is removed, the magician will lose the power of forbidden magic. She has a rule, 1 magic per person, so if you replace the ring, you can use other forbidden magic. It looks pretty simple since only the ring is changed. Because of this, there's no point for others to use it, because it will only work for Skye. But there's something else, the most important thing. You can't use 2 forbidden spells at the same time, even if there is a risk to life. If that happens, the owner of the ring will leave this world. Skye was infuriated by this rule. He realized why there was always only 1 ring. He looked at the jewelry. After all, magic is called forbidden for a reason. But with this, it becomes even stronger. This is the end of the 7 colorless demons' magic training. The rest depends only on the BB mage. He should try his best. Skye thanked Tartan. Dinner time. Skye suggested that his teacher go together. Tartan was delighted. He agreed. Next day, Skye was in the library. He was selecting various books in order to master the magic of the 7 colorless demons. He couldn't wait to try out this magic sooner rather than later. The guy walked out of the library with a pile of books, but stopped when he saw someone at the end of the corridor. It was his brother, Sir Vincent. He is the 2nd son of the Vincent house. Skye gave him a disgruntled look. It had been a long time since they had seen each other. Suru made himself welcome in a place like this. He admonished his brother for his recent actions that attract attention. Skye continued to stare at him angrily, not believing that his family was interested. Suru then reminded him of the conditions his father had set so that he could move. Skye quoted his father's words about not standing out and quietly graduating from the academy. Skye is just a replacement for Suru. Now that brother Tartan has joined the royal family, Suru intends to support the Vincent family. But his father fears his dynasty will be interrupted if something goes wrong. Suru will allow his brother to go to this place. If he becomes heir, he can do no good. But as long as Suru is here, none of that will happen. He intends to inherit the family and lead it to prosperity. If Skye can fulfill all the conditions, he will get the territories promised by his father. He remembered Sophia's words that getting some of the territories sounded ridiculous. As far as she knew, territories were inherited after 10 years. He should have notified the royal family to refer everyone to the 2nd son, Sir Vincent. He realized that he agreed with what she was telling him then. Skye apologized to his brother for actions that attracted attention. However, he did not remember ever fooling his brother. On the contrary, he thinks that by his actions he is helping to raise the prestige of the family name. Saru should just accept the fact that he is just a cowardly wizard. He starts insulting Skye. Saru thinks it's best not to spread the word that such a boy was born in the Vincent family. Skye looked at him silently. Saru is sure that before the family's name goes nationwide, everyone in the academy will know it because of him. It was for this reason that he won the race and came second in the rankings. And that guy, a member of the student council, he's been at the top of the rankings for 2 academic years. To win the next election for student council president, the Vincent family aims to rise above even the Baron family. This year, Saru became a faction representative. The High School of Magic is divided into 2 factions. The Student Council faction makes no distinction between commoners and nobles and value their abilities. But the Surunites are a faction of absolutist aristocrats with a high selection criterion. Saru warned, just in case, that he has been expanding this faction for a year. There is one energetic person in the academy and he is going to influence him in a year. The one who will take his place after him is from the 1-year class. Skye thought his brother meant Arietta, but Saru was talking about Balanga Lack. Skye had in no way expected this. Saru thinks that Balanga has excellent credentials in both magical power and status. Skye is standing in their way. Balanga's current record is 4 battles, of which he has 4 wins. He is second in the standings despite being first in wins. Skye is also in line with 4 wins. This year, because Skye is in classy, the quality of the win is more important than the quantity. According to Saru, he can't focus on the number of wins to keep his rating low. Arietta Tungaloy is in first place. She has 2 more wins. His brother concluded that it was his fault that Balanga did not take the first place. Skye doesn't know how to make sense of it, but Saru is sure he understands. His accomplishments are getting in the way of their ambitions. So does he himself. The protagonist's brother suspects that he is somehow using fake magic. Why doesn't he join the student council anyway? Still, he thinks it's a hoax. Skye is angry that his brother called his magic fake. After all, he has been training with the master for a long time. He wondered if his days spent with the master were fake. This school was now being run by the wrong people. It needed to be put back on the right track. Skye had been in his brother's way before, but now he must work for Sura and help. First of all, he will have to go out for an official duel next week. This was unexpected for Skye. He doesn't think it will help Balanga in any way. He doesn't need to worry. His opponent is Balanga Lack. If he wins, he will have 5 wins. After that, the scoring method will change slightly. If he takes first place, their faction will gain more influence. Skye is the cornerstone of all of this. The guys stood opposite each other. Skye closed his eyes, then he exhaled and put the stack of books on the floor. He admired his brother's intelligence. However, if Skye wins, the plan will collapse. Saru is infuriated. He thinks there is no chance. He also has an ace up his sleeve, deceptive magic. Skye can't be defeated. He is disappointed at his brother's order. Skye must lose like a coward. The boy began to ponder. Who would have thought that Saru had something to do with forbidden magical weapons? His father broke his promise to enroll in the school. His brother despises him as a marriage. Skye used to live a quiet life, but he made the decision to start the coveted game, to defeat Balanga in front of such a crowd. The guy is ready to embarrass the one who is the representative of the faction as much as he can. If that's the case, we should prepare in advance for the official duel next week. He picked up the books from the floor. He now had no time to master the 7 colorless demons. The boy sighed, but immediately thought of something. Obviously, he should ask Rame. High Magic Academy, female dormitory. The girl was sitting at the table in her room when Skye approached her room. There's no way she expected to see him here. She knows how he feels, but he came to her room too suddenly. Her heart isn't quite ready yet. Skye addressed her by name. He has an important conversation to have with this girl. Rame is clearly not ready for important conversations. She has already worked out in her head how Skye will confess his feelings to her. 2 girls walked behind the guy. Seeing this couple, they started giggling. Rame isn't sure she wants to have a conversation right here and now. After all, they are in the passageway. With the door open, Skye would like to discuss the details, so it would be a good idea to go to the room. Rame stammered and invited the guy to come into the room. The guy entered and stopped in the middle of the room. He looked around. Rame closed the door. Finally, Skye got to the heart of the conversation. He leisurely began to speak. Rame was very nervous. Finally, Skye asked the girl to practice light magic with him. This was not what Rame expected. She asked the boy again. Skye repeated the same thing again. Reme tensed. She was in a stupor. She turned away from him. Skye dropped to the floor. Eventually, the girl agreed to teach him, but she warned him not to let this guy pull anything weird next time. He didn't understand what she meant. Time to go to the playground, but first, it's worth warning Skye. Reme's special training is hard, but Skye is quite used to this sort of thing. Best and worst student. This is going to be as unequal a workout as possible. The magic of the 7 colorless demons. Skye came to Reme to learn more about the magic of light, since he couldn't understand all the intricacies from the book. It wasn't clear to him what he could do and what he couldn't do. And also he was interested in what were the advantages and disadvantages. He thinks Reme knows more about magic than anyone else. She is willing to teach him her fighting style in light magic. Reme offered to begin. She closed her eyes and concentrated. She used the spell while standing still. Now she could move at the speed of light at any time. Skye realized that she wouldn't automatically fly anywhere. After casting the spell, one could decide when to fly. If one doesn't hesitate, there is a chance of not being exposed as a novice mage. With this spell, you can fly to any location the mage sees. Reme can move anywhere, but if the place can't be seen, it won't work. Skye thought it was possible to fly to any part of space. Surely most people think the same way, so Skye doesn't need to share that knowledge with anyone. Also, traveling at the speed of light like this would only cost him 100 mana. That's a lot for Skye, since he only has 999 mana. This was not the only positive aspect of this magic, according to the girl. No matter how far or close the end point is, the mana cost will be the same. Therefore, it is more advantageous to use the spell for long distances. Skye is a good student. However, not everything is so rosy. Although this spell requires the same amount of mana regardless of distance, the return on the body increases proportionally to distance. Skye interrogated Reme about the recoil. More specifically, there are 3 main types: dizziness, nausea, and headache. If the distance is small, the mage won't feel anything. But if it's large, then the recoil will be huge. The guy inquired if it had any effect on Reme. She wondered. Usually in battle, she doesn't go beyond 50 meters. Besides, she's already used to that distance, and she barely feels the recoil. But if we talk about 100 meters, a little nausea appears. If 200 meters, then headache and dizziness are also added. Reme prefers to use magic battle tactics in close combat, because even a single moment can be fatal. Therefore, it's better to stay within 50 meters. Skye realized that even this girl's 100 meters would cause consequences. The guy didn't have any more questions. Reme continued. She used a spell as Skye interrupted her. He assumed that the next one would be a magical weapon enhancement. Reme stopped. She then headed toward the guy. He didn't realize what was going on. Reme approached the guy closely and asked him how he guessed that she had started using the amplification. He replied that the magic began to emit a triple beeping sound for a moment. This is peculiar to amplification type magic. The girl is taken aback. She thinks he is mocking her. She assumed the position to read the spell and asked what she was doing now. The boy looked at her incomprehensibly. He heard the beeping again. This time it was 5 times. So it's an advanced magic flash. The guy seemed to have gotten it right. Reme was speechless. Skye couldn't understand what was happening to her. She assumed that once he starts reading a spell, he already understands what type of magic it will be. Skye confirmed that this was exactly the case. He thought it was a common thing. Reme is furious. No one can do like this guy. Skye didn't expect this. The girl grabbed her head. Usually, during a battle, a mage would try to anticipate the opponent's spell. Monsters have their own patterns of behavior and movement, so it's not hard to read them. However, with humans, things are much more complicated. The stronger a person is, the less inclined they are to use spells in the same order. When it comes to Reme, however, she has no familiar sequences. Beginner and intermediate level mages are equally weak to her. Therefore, they cannot read her actions. Skye hesitated again. Whether Reme liked it or not, this guy could read her actions. His teacher was able to do that too. The girl, sure that they both know how to do it, is an exception. Reme is tired of arguing with him. Skye realized something. It has come to him that everyone is fighting without even having a clue what their opponent is using. He wondered what they were doing when they determined the conversion rate. He remembered his training with Master Ans in the forest. Skye had thought that the knowledge of magic transformation speed was public knowledge, but that was not the case. The implication was that it wouldn't be a big deal if he cast a low-level spell as if he wanted to use an advanced level spell. This is exactly how mages build their tactics. Skye was amazed that the opponent would be surprised if there was much weaker magic instead of higher level magic. Reme still thinks he's being bullied. He really wondered what would happen if he could fool the opponent that the spell was not of intermediate level but of advanced level. Rame was starting to get really angry. If these were official games, it would end in defeat. In real combat, it's a little different. In that case, the fight will end with a last gasp. Skye lowered his head. Now he understood everything. The common sense of this world is beyond Skye's comprehension. But if his opponent doesn't think of the double dodge, the outcome is a foregone conclusion. Rame thinks he's thinking of something sneaky, but he was really interested. The guy can't wait to continue the special training. The girl is ready to show the next light magic technique. The building of the Magic Academy. There was a guy sitting on the couch with his arms folded. The first time this guy was lost was when he was 10 years old. The last time was just recently. Both of them had been overtaken by a mysterious magic with unprecedented power. But a genius like him had lost twice. That Balanga guy, he's angry with Skye Vincent. Since his opponent is also a genius, he was afraid of losing to his cowardly magic. The next day, there should be an official battle that wouldn't be so easy. They sealed Aisha's mysterious magic. After this, his opponent would be unable to use not only magic tools but also magic itself. Now victory is probably in their pocket. Balanga is in anticipation. He's excited to see how his opponent will handle this. He is ready to embarrass his opponent and make a fool of him. Balanga laughed loudly sitting in his chair, but he was interrupted by a knock on the door. 3 guys entered the room. 2 apologized for the disturbance, but they brought some guy. This guy was pushed and fell to the floor. They demanded that he tell them something. Balanga recognized this guy as Aaron, whom he had lent money to the other day. Balanga went over to the guy and sat across from him. He apologized for being dragged like that. Marina was asked about the arcade that Balanga had shown him. This guy assured him that he would definitely win. Aaron looked fearfully at his interlocutor. He began to apologize to Balanga by kneeling down and pressing his forehead to the floor. He should have won. At first everything was fine. Aaron kept winning. But at the end they took it all away. Balanga put a hand on his shoulder. The guy was having a hard time. Balanga was very angry with Aaron for losing his money. He demanded that he give back all the money now. The boy tried to get up. Balanga asked him if he would inform the student council and teachers, but the return is long obligatory. Balanga does not care exactly how Aaron will do it. He pushed the boy away. Aaron's nose seemed to bleed, and he grabbed his head. The blonde-haired guy handed him a handkerchief. He said there was no need to worry, because there was a way to get that money back. For example, if they won an official duel, Aaron's debt might decrease somewhat. The 2 guys who had brought Aaron stood opposite him. The blonde-haired one took him under his arm as he headed for the exit, and suggested that they think together. The dark-haired man remarked that Aaron had become a slave in the blink of an eye. Balanga waved his hand. He doesn't keep track of everyone. There are too many. But this way the dark-haired man could defeat Skye at the official game. 5 single top wins, there would still be a 6th win using Arena. In 12 weeks, he would have a total of 11 victories. Balanga thought for a moment. He was sure they would reach the top, even without pawns. However, the first place finisher Arietta Tungaloy is not taking the battle seriously yet. It is a good time to use these slaves to increase the number of wins. Arietta has 2 wins and 0 losses to her credit. Also, Balanga heard that commoners like Rame are also quite strong. The kind they can use as much as they want, so there won't be any problems. Rame is in 25th place. She has 0 wins and 1 loss on her record. Balanga believes that they have no direct enemies, with the exception of Skye Vincent. He looks forward to meeting him. The day of the official battle has arrived. A great many spectators have gathered, including Skye's friends and enemies. Skye was getting ready to go out. He expected everyone to come to watch. Only Tartan didn't get a ticket. He noticed his brother Sura among the spectators. A man entered the room and invited Skye to come through. The boy agreed and drew his sword. He stepped into the arena. This would be his debut of the 7 colorless demons magic. Rame gave Skye his sword. It suits his fighting style. He is bound to win. The boy accepted the weapon. Skye and Balanga are in the arena. Balanga is surprised his opponent didn't run away. Skye says he has a strange hairstyle. This made Balanga angry. He advised the guy to be brave. Even though his brother advised him to surrender, he would not get off easy. He believes that Skye will never be able to wash off the shame again. He intends to be the winner and humiliate the guy in front of everyone. Skye immediately remembered that he was asked to surrender. The guy summoned the clown. Balanga, this familiar seems insignificant and well suited for such a cowardly guy. He then summoned his familiar. He proudly introduced his water dragon. The duelists are ready. The fight is about to begin. Skye closed his eyes. The magic of the 7 colorless demons has been activated. The magic transformation rate is 200%. He grabbed the hilt of his sword. He then pulled out the blade and used deceptive interference, skill violation. The nature of light. This is intermediate magic, weapon refinement. Consumption of magic power 400. Doubling the magic of the 7 colorless demons. The factor of 200% magic conversion is 1 second. The amount of power consumed is compensated. That leaves 599. So far, everything is going well. The 7 colorless demons' magic and clever tricks are working without any problems. What Tartan said wasn't a joke. He was saying that such magic included the magic of fire, water, earth, air, light, and darkness. When activated, all 700 kinds would be available. Tartan was not joking, but he warned that this magic had one peculiarity. You can use magic of all kinds, but it won't be like normal magic. For example, the entry-level fire magic is a fireball. Casting time 1 second, magic power consumption 15, average power. If it strikes an opponent, it will deal damage. Fire by its nature burns, but if you use the fireball when the 7 colorless demons are activated, there will be no burning effect, as the magic is of a different nature. In other words, we can say that it is copy magic. But there is another peculiarity when using magic during the 7 colorless demons. The consumption of magic power is doubled. Skye was dumbfounded by such information. The clown had accurately identified exactly what was wrong for him. If the guy doesn't have enough magic power, he won't be able to use the spell. It turns out that the use of the 700 species can also change. In Skye's case, there are too many restrictions due to the magic power consumed. He asked Tartan about the level of training. He replied that during the 7 colorless demons' magic training, his mentor had mentioned something about it. At the end, his mentor got tired of explaining and only said one thing. Live lightly, but don't be greedy for equipment. That's all his teacher told Tartan. It does seem like a level of training from scratch, but still, Skye could probably handle it. There were no problems on the part of his surname. In that case, he suggested setting the level of all magic to 100, but only for 1 minute. Skye agreed, but he wondered what would happen after 1 minute. It seemed obvious to the clown. Magic will reach the training level of 100 in 1 minute. He will give his master -100. To the clown it seemed like good terms, but he doesn't know what will happen if magic is used at -100 level. If Skye is interested, he can give it a try. The boy accepted his familiar's conditions. Official duel. Skye swung toward Balanga with sword in hand. The first minute went by. Skye needs to stay calm. Rame saw that he used the magic of the 7 colorless demons. When she uses this magic, her sword glows, but Skye's sword became transparent for some reason. Balanga laughed at his opponent, not realizing what this strange magic was. He figured that Skye had already lost anyway. He used his staff, shaped like a trident. Balanga used the water strike spell. It's an entry-level water magic with a read time of 1 second. Water orbs flew out towards Skye. He made a jump. The guy deftly dodged such an attack. Perhaps his opponent was going to end the match with an initial spell. Skye thinks he's very stupid. He's running out of time, needs to get this over with as quickly as possible. Balanga used a spell, his familiar appeared behind him. Skye stopped. Something started to happen to him. His body became heavy, he could hardly stand on his feet. Then he noticed that the splashing water was moving, the water enveloped him. Balanga was clearly pleased with himself. His water dragon is quite a powerful familiar and can only be used by strong people. Any water within a 50-meter radius is completely under the control of this dragon. When Skye's clothes get wet, he will be finished. Skye fell to his knees in pain. Looks like it's over. The guy has no other choice, we'll have to change tactics. Earth magic, intermediate magic, physical strengthening. Magic power consumption 500. Remaining magic power 99. Balanga doesn't know what his opponent is going to do, but he is sure that it will be useless. Skye manages to stand up and dodge Balanga's punch. This is not easy for Skye, not even the strengthening helps. Rame realized that this is a tough fight for him. Balanga is not a good person. As time passes, his strength is restored, but his ability as a magician is good. There is a big difference in the total amount of magic power between Balanga and Skye. Some spectators supported Balanga, considering Skye a cowardly wizard. They shouted his name, trying to support him. Balanga in turn enjoyed this fame. While he was enjoying himself, Skye had time to regain his strength, with a little more left. Balanga dealt more damage to his opponent. Skye stayed where he was. He wasn't going to run away. Balanga believes that Skye can't escape. The magic barrier hadn't reached 1,000 yet. The game wasn't over yet. Balanga let out an evil laugh. He enjoyed watching his opponent suffer. Skye needs to be patient for another 5 seconds. Balanga wants to put him in his place. Skye counted down the remaining seconds. 100. Skye smiled. Consumption of magic power 100. Light magic, initial magic, high movement speed. Skye was behind Balanga's back and called out to him. taking a swing from behind his back. He should be more careful next time and not talk. Skye attacked his opponent. He knocked him to the ground. Weapon enhancement skill 100. Body strengthening skill 100. A transformation speed of 200% doubles the power of magic. Damage amount 16,866. It was a perfect minute. The end of the battle was announced. Since Balanga's magic barrier had fallen below 10,000, Skye Vincent was declared the winner. Skye silently and with his head held up proudly went to the exit. He passed his brother Saru. Finally Skye relaxed, his whole body heavy. If it wasn't for the magic weapon, he would have had a hard time. He was completely devastated. He planned to reach home sooner and go to bed. But someone called out to him. It was Balanga. He called the boy a liar. Balanga thinks that Skye can't use this magic. He replied that he could use it, so Balanga couldn't do anything about it. But Balanga is not convinced by this. He thinks that if he continued like this, he would definitely win. He thinks Skye is a pathetic wizard who can't use such magic. Balanga was very angry. If it was a real battle, in Balanga's opinion, no one would help Skye. As it was, his water dragon had captured Skye and was winning. He continued to humiliate Skye, but Skye paid no attention. Balanga broke the school rules. It was forbidden to summon a familiar in an inappropriate place. But Balanga didn't care. He intended to continue. Skye stopped. He warned Balanga. Under the authority of a student council officer, Skye takes control of the distraught Balanga. Balanga is shocked. This is a real battle, Skye told Balanga. He fired a magic bullet. Balanga is defeated. Skye was very tired. The strength that had recovered a little bit left him again. He needs to return to the dormitory quickly. The next day, Skye came to return the katana, but Reme grabbed Skye's arm and pulled him along, hurrying him along. She dragged him around the store with her. Skye didn't realize how it happened. Will there be a date next time? After the battle with Balanga, Skye thanks Rem for the katana. Thanks to Rem, they won that fight. She's happy about that. Skye hesitates. In gratitude for the sword, he gave her flowers. It was unexpected, but pleasant for Rem. She interjects that was the flower for her. Skye responds by saying that he just couldn't think of anything else. He just doesn't know what Rem likes. She accepted the gift, but it wasn't all she would have liked. Skye doesn't understand what his girlfriend needs. She just wants to eat ice cream again. The protagonist wants to give money to Rem so she can buy her own ice cream. But suddenly he faces his partner's anger. She doesn't like Skye's behavior. After all, she doesn't look like a person who can't afford to buy it. Skye is silent. She thinks he is a fool. Rem just wants the protagonist to invite her to go together. He should have figured it out himself. Skye doesn't really like sweets, but Rem is very persuasive. So they went. The central square of the capital. They were in a clothing store. Rem was trying on some beautiful tames, impressing her friend with her beauty. They were sampling perfumes and just having a good time together. Now it was time for ice cream. It was like Skye couldn't wait to get to that ice cream shop. It upset Rem. She felt like her friend wasn't having fun walking around the capital with her. He really didn't seem to be having a bad time. Many men are willing to go out with Rem somewhere and pay everything for her, added the main character. So why doesn't Rem go out with others? Skye asked. Rem is furious. Apparently Skye doesn't understand anything at all. She turned around and wanted to walk away from the protagonist. But Skye pointed to an ice cream shop in time and they entered it. Skye tries to find out what kind of ice cream Rem will have. Rem asks the vendor to give her one ice cream white Belliandra Zubulimicus Centuria. The protagonist is shocked by the name alone. Rem offers to split it in half. She'll order one and he'll order the other. Skye takes the black strawberry deluxe Phoenix ice cream. They ate the ice cream at the establishment by the window. Skye admits that his ice cream is completely unflavored. If the flavor is known beforehand, it becomes uninteresting to try it, added Rem. The protagonist wants to get half of Rem. She has nowhere to go. She tries Skye's ice cream and she doesn't like it. I think he's right. In the end, white Belliandra Zubulimicus Centuria is much better, Rem said. She ate Skye's ice cream since she was tired from the long walk. He is glad to be together with Rem now. They ate the ice cream and looked out the window. Outside the window, there were many people. This is the capital of the kingdom after all. The center of Istavari district is amazing in this regard, Rem added. Rem's knowledge of the city surprised the protagonist. She wants to fully know this crowded city with its pros and cons. Skye is interested to know about the pros of the city. For Rem, an ice cream shop with lots of sweets is a plus in itself. But there are downsides, Rem began. This is the bad side of a thriving city. From far away came a noise. It happens a lot, Rem added. Skye realized it was a robbery, and in broad daylight. To Rem, it's not surprising. After all, this is the capital of the kingdom. The protagonist wants to help. Rem doesn't think he should get involved. After all, help will arrive soon. But Skye won't stay away. Rem admires her friend. After all, he's so kind. The robbers were about 10. They seemed to be almost finished with their work and well in control of the situation. They also had a hostage. It would take a lot of guts to attack a casino, considering the fact that the Balanga house owns it. Even though they're not considered saints, Rem added. If they are targeting the casino, then they have a lot of experience. After all, casinos always hire a few mage guards. Especially in the Lack family's casino, there should be the best security system installed. Skye noticed one of the bandits had a tattoo on his right shoulder. He started to reach for his wands, but realized he couldn't do it from that distance. Skye turned around and walked away. Rem didn't even have time to realize what was happening, just followed him. She tried to stop him. From this point on, he takes control of the mugger situation, and wants Rem to protect the hostage when he is released. Rem will help Skye, but she doesn't understand why they would want to get involved. The protagonist doesn't want gratitude and to be seen as a magician. He wants to do everything quickly and quietly to free the hostage. Rem doesn't understand what her friend is going to do. He wants to use a combination of magic 7 colorless demons and magical weapons. Skye explains everything later and asks her to help with the hostage. She wants to trust her friend. Skye is only in favor. They scatter. The protagonist used the power of the magic of the 7 colorless demons during the battle with Balanga. Different effects are possible depending on how the magic is used. He should try out different combinations. Skye stopped in the middle of the street. It's 500 meters to the casino. From this distance, he can't hear the robbers, so he can't feel the magic power from 500 meters away. Skye prepared to attack. The protagonist tries to activate the magic of the 7 colorless demons. Hawk's Eye entry-level magic. Beginning level magic of the nature of air. Casting time 1 second. Magic consumption 100. Due to the use of the magic of the 7 colorless demons, the consumption increases by 200. Skye can only see 12 people. Everything is fine. Magic that consumes less power is easy to control. With 12 magic bullets, magic consumption is only 12. In addition, his class of magic manipulation easily bypasses all obstacles. All criminals are punished. Skye rejoices at this result. When the protagonist approached the casino, the gendarmes were already loading the bound bandits. Skye wonders about the hostage. The hostage was fine. Rem had kept her promise. The protagonist is overjoyed. Skye thanks Rem for her help. After all, the criminals could have fled unexpectedly, and he would not have been able to realize his strategy alone. Skye was able to do well because Rem was there for him. Rem is embarrassed by this praise since she hardly did anything. At least the robbers succeeded in the robbery, the protagonist thought. Skye tries to figure out who the tattooed bandits are. Still, there was no reason to think about it. The case is safely settled and they return home. Rem is very tired, for they have seen a lot today. There was a clatter of hooves. Someone turned to Skye. The girl knight wants to talk to the main character. A knight came to the protagonist to talk to him. It was the captain of the knights, Jenadora. She wanted to talk to Skye and Rem. Rem seemed confused at such an unexpected encounter with a knight. Jen apologized for stopping them and interrupting their dialogue. Rem respectfully replied that there was nothing wrong with that. Skye didn't show proper respect. Rem quietly hinted to him that knights are an elite among the elites of their world. This position could be held by those who graduated from the Magic Academy with honors. They are in the thick of things, patrolling the cities and solving such problems. After completing their career, they can get a title or territory. Therefore, their position in society is much higher, Rem added. Now Skye understood everything. He is not interested in this meeting. Rem asks to show some interest. Jen went on to say that as soon as she heard about the burglar in town, she immediately rushed here. She wanted to see how the military police worked. The case was sort of settled. Eyewitnesses interviewed, bandits convicted. Jen was fine with that. She wants to bring some details to their attention. First of all, the casino was attacked by bandits she's been following. Jen's sure it's the Slains. The guys are in shock. The bandits were disarmed at the same time, Jen added. She is pleased to see that Skye and Rem are capable of doing something like this without attracting attention. The gendarmerie isn't capable of such a thing. Not even a city wizard could do it. Skye tensed. Jen continued to voice her speculation. She thinks this is the work of 2 young students, and the main star here is not a lady. She believes it is Skye. The knight wonders what kind of magic the protagonist uses, and whether it can be repeated. Rem started to say something, but Skye stopped her. Rem started to apologize, but the protagonist stopped her. Skye isn't going to talk to Jen about anything else and suggests Rem come back. Jen wants to keep her opponents interested. She was thinking of rewarding them. What will tip the scales, money or pride? The choice is obvious. Skye agrees. Jen thinks it's the right decision. Jen asks to bring the reward from her subordinate. It takes a few minutes. However, she's not going to keep quiet, so she tells a little about the Slains. The Slains are bandits who are currently doing their thing in the capital. They call themselves fighters for justice, but they are no different from ordinary bandits. Skye doubts their justice. Jen continued, everything happened at the Res Casino, which doesn't have the best reputation. The Slains only target people who don't earn honestly or profit from others. However, they only use the stolen money to expand their organization. But there is something that is of great concern. Slain's boss is the former captain of the Breros Knights. He was Jen's predecessor and has been called the greatest knight of all time. Skye assumes that things are not easy for the knights right now, so he won't even ask about the latest. Jen warns that with Breros, Skye has no chance of winning. The protagonist won't even have time to make a sound when they meet him. Jen continued. Skye turns around and walks away, waving his hand. Skye abruptly remembers that he forgot to pick up his reward. The next day, in the dining hall, Skye doesn't understand why he's suddenly being treated to dinner. In the huge hall, it's just him and the student council president. Surin thinks that Skye works so hard that she can't repay him fully. She asks him to eat well. She has fun eating with the cute Rame, but eating with Skye is also quite interesting. The protagonist tastes the treat. The food turns out to be so delicious that Skye starts eating it in a gulp. Surin asked him to take his time. She bent down to wipe a drop off Skye's face. The protagonist is shocked by such an act. He is grateful to her for it. Surin tells about his brother Suru. It turns out that he lost his magic weapon in the official game, but is pretty close to graduating. Skye is not interested in his brother's affairs. Besides, it was a rare occasion when she attacked hard, so he wouldn't be able to fight anytime soon. The head of the student council added. Surin was predisposed to some kind of compromise that could ruin the faction. The protagonist understands everything. Surin thanks him for defeating Balanga. The student's opinion of Skye has changed, Surin added. The protagonist is in shock. The head believes that everyone needs the approval of the crowd. Surin wants him to run for student council president. Skye doesn't like that kind of thing. That's what she thought. Rem was right. Surin looks at the patch. For whatever reason, those who are not worthy of a place are constantly chasing after it, and those who are worthy don't need it. In Surin's opinion, this attitude of the student council is very strange. Isn't that the way the whole world works? The protagonist asked. Surin thought for a moment. After a short pause, she started a new conversation. She assumes that Skye knows Janadoru, and as student council president she has many steps to go through, and one of them is the knighthood. Because of this connection, Surin has constant contact with her. Skye is not surprised by this. The protagonist confirms that he knows Jen. This information about knowing Jen was told by Rame. She said it was fun. Skye surprisingly interjects, so Surin asked Jen to tell about the attack on the casino. She said that there was a student at the scene who immediately disarmed all the bandits, although they took a hostage. Such a thing cannot be done one-on-one, but it can be done with Skye's magic. Skye directly offers to tell Adora about his magic. Surin doesn't want this, for she has her own plans for it. She wants Skye to be hers alone. The protagonist can't say a word. He is overwhelmed with surprise. For now, Surin is on the student council, but she wants to offer Skye to work together even after graduation. For the sake of her ambition, Skye is shocked by this. They stare into each other's eyes. Skye realizes it's serious. Skye is curious to know what Surin's ambitions are. She wants to achieve world peace. Skye has questions about this. He assumes that Surin should inform Janadora about him, as he might be useful. Surin doesn't think so, as this is a job for knights. She wants to use Skye's power to fulfill her plans. She will prepare the protagonist for everything. After all, she doesn't want him to hate her. That's the way Skye likes it. He now understands why Rame is so fascinated by her. Skye owes Surin a great debt of gratitude. Surin expects support from the protagonist. Skye agrees to this. At night in an inconspicuous building, an attack on the Lack family's casino in the capital, an aide begins to report, was stopped by an unknown assailant shortly before succeeding. All 12 members of the attack were apprehended. The gang leader is furious at such news. Breros is a former captain of the Knights, currently the head of the slain gangsters. He is trying to figure out what happened there. The aide continued. According to reports from personnel waiting near the scene, the hostages have been released and Janadora has arrived on the scene. Breros knows her. He is all ears. None of the bandits were hurt, so when there's an investigation, it's likely the location of this headquarters will be revealed. Breros is outraged that everyone is alive. Wasn't this a battle? He asked the aide. Judging from the way the aide began to speak uncertainly, Breros understood. He instructed him to draw up a plan to move the main headquarters to another location. Kainento approached Breros. He had nothing to say about it yet. Kainento is a former royal knight. In his time of service, he was called a tactician. He doesn't think it's Janadora's work. If it was her, things would be much more interesting. Betrayal was impossible because of the blood pact. Kainento assumes it was an accident. At this stage, that was the most rational assumption, since they didn't have any informants or information leaks, and the time in which the knights would arrive was calculated perfectly. If this is the case, then it turns out that someone accidentally stopped the attack. So it's reasonable to believe that none of this is an accident. Breros thinks it's all nonsense. After all, he chose the 12 best magicians. Kainento has an assumption. Breros is all ears. A student of the highest school of magic, said Kainento. The idea seemed dubious to Breros. Kainento wants to give one of the reasons. This is the kingdom's prime period, and children are sometimes born with strength comparable to monsters, explained Kainento. They had also hunted bandits when they were students, Kainento reminded. They were on a different level than the amateur groups. However, he had heard that the student council president and his deputy were different and very capable. Kunchi is also good, said Breros. But not enough, added another. A whole month was spent preparing for this attack. A lot of money was spent on buying information. And is it possible to carry out an attack on the royal family? They are in serious financial difficulties. It was necessary to choose the next target to solve the big problems. Kainento continued. After a little reasoning, Breros chose a target. Kainento waits to see what his comrade has to say. Breros hinted that they had already talked about it just now. It'll be a high school of magic that a bunch of aristocrats go to, said Breros. He really wondered how much their parents were willing to pay for their precious little ones. Tartan stood in front of the closed door. He found what he was looking for. Tartan decided to wait a little longer. He decided to climb over the wall. When he jumped down, he was already being waited on. Tartan did not expect this. The stranger was waiting for him in advance. He reached out his hand to Tartan's forehead. Kananter resents the schoolboy for breaking the rules. He casts a spell over his forehead. Darkness envelops Tartan. 2 days later, Renga relayed the message. Ranger began. Ranger confirmed that a table had been set up against the southwest wall yesterday morning, said Historia. By noon it was known that Tartan from the first E class was there. And 2 days later, no one knows his whereabouts. Skye doesn't think of Tartan as someone who runs off in the middle of the night. Tartan was the kind of person who was more afraid of ruining his grades with such antics. Skye added, unless it was an exceptional case. History considers this case exceptional. The boys fell silent in thought. According to the information received from the students in the class, they had seen a couple of aristocrats similar to Tartan on the streets of the capital, added Skye. Besides, when they showed his picture, people said they had seen him. Immediately after receiving the information, Tartan disappeared. Skye knew that Tartan had been separated from his real parents as a child. The protagonist thinks he grasped this information, hoping to be reunited with them again. However, it seems that he had no intention of returning with his parents, Historia added. Hysteria wants Skye and Rem to find Tartan. She has a hunch that something doesn't add up in this case. First, they need information on his whereabouts. Now Hysteria will find out with the help of an artifact. Hysteria looks into the magic orb. Skye doesn't understand what's going on. Now Historia has it all figured out. Tartan is hiding in the kingdom's capital. Skye is dismissive of this information. Remus finds the chairman's prediction of doom astounding. She is even more surprised by the chairman's wand. Inside the artifact is a spiritual beast. This orb not only acts as a wand, but also has mysterious powers. Skye is surprised that there are some. Hysteria asks for them, to begin the search for Tartan immediately. The royal city. According to the map the chairman had given them, this place was somewhere around here. Skye called out to Reme. According to the prediction, this was the place here. It was an ordinary unremarkable building. It was clear from the sign that it was a popular beer hall. Skye was at a loss. In his opinion, the guessing should be more accurate. Reme asked Skye not to insult the chairman. This was the workers' neighborhood. Skye noticed a woman sewing in front of the tavern. She made women's clothes, but the place was not suitable for selling such things. She had well-developed leg muscles despite her sedentary lifestyle, and there was a scar on her neck. Still, this is the body of a person who does not earn a living by sewing, Reme said. Reme summarizes what was said earlier. Wizards like them immediately identify a man who is used to fighting. Skye is amazed at how smart his friend is. Adding up what was said earlier, it can be said that she guards the tavern. and if an inappropriate customer comes in, she'll report it right away. Skye's got it all figured out. In his opinion, there is something inside the tavern that they want to hide. Reme confirmed his hunch. Tartan's into something bad, we've got to help him soon. They're figuring out how to get inside. They don't look like regular customers. There's nothing we can do about it. Reme has something to offer. Skye has a bad feeling about this. Guys play the role of regular customers. They head to the tavern to relax. They find this tavern a great place to have a drink. The woman looks at them suspiciously. She glared intently at Reme. That woman's gaze spoke of people's disapproval, Reme added. Reme turned around and menacingly asked her not to do that again. Skye joined in Reme's words. They entered the tavern. Skye couldn't have thought it would work. There were only 4 customers in the room. A waiter approached them. He wondered what they would be ordering. Reme exuberantly asked to bring the cheapest thing. Skye assured the waiter that she wouldn't worry about the money. The waiter retired to the counter. Reme suspects that this girl does not look like a waiter, and the other customers didn't come here for a drink. You could feel the magic in them. Skye seemed very suspicious of the waiter. This made Reme laugh. She thought the protagonist was an amateur. Skye thinks that Tartan may be in the inside of the tavern. Reme denies this, explaining that such taverns usually have cellars to store alcohol. The room was too small for a prosperous tavern. It was most likely a front. They clearly made money not by selling drinks. That is why Tartan was isolated. Perhaps it wasn't his fault. First, he may have been misled by false information, and then he may have been targeted when he went in search of his parents. Perhaps it wasn't like that at all, Reme said. Tartan doesn't have much wealth, so there may be some guys involved who are too serious to take him alone. If you think about it calmly, Reme continued, but she was stopped by Skye. He wondered if Tartan was involved. Perhaps he might have witnessed something he shouldn't have, Reme said. Suddenly someone's voice confirmed Reme's words. Patrons and a waiter menacingly surrounded the boys. The girl praised Reme for her cleverness, but also admonished her poor disguise. The woman at the entrance reported it at once. Skye was right that the waitress was not who she said she was. Rene cooled the protagonist down, because no matter how much of a genius he was, it wouldn't save him from making a mistake. Skye did nothing of the sort, for it wasn't all that bad in his opinion. Even though Rem was smart, the protagonist got bored. Rem tried to correct Skye, saying that if you praise, at least you should do it right. Skye slapped his hand on the table. Rem really had gotten him this far. Skye apologizes to everyone, but this place should have been cleaned up a long time ago. Rem is only in favor. The stranger pointed her blade threateningly at Rem, dispelling the protagonist's confidence. The stranger's hand beckoned behind her. She believes herself to be some sort of villain. They are promised on good behavior that no harm will come to them. The gaze of the bandit with the cards and Skye crossed. The protagonist is confident. Skye doesn't count on them winning, and with an easy hand pulls out his wands. The situation is escalating. Looks like the negotiations have broken down, said the exosutress. The bandits want a quick massacre of the young men, except they paid for their insolence. Skye easily showed everyone how to behave. The waitress is shocked. It seems her moment to take responsibility for her actions has come. Skye has once again confirmed to everyone that they don't stand a chance against him. He wants to know where Tartan is. Remus is delighted at how quickly Skye solves things. The situation still looks hot. The waitress seems to be giving up and laying down her weapons. She assures everyone that the wanted student is safe and not the primary target. The waitress asks to follow her to the basement. The basement was full of weapons and barrels. Skye holds the waitress at gunpoint. Rem notices a tattoo on the girl's neck. It looks like the one the notorious slime gang had. Rem wondered if she had run into Tartan during her business. The waitress does indeed think Rem is very smart. Only in her opinion, she noticed it too late. Rem doesn't understand why. The waitress didn't hesitate and complimented by saying that the plan is already underway. Rem wants to know what the plan is and what stage it is in. The girl only assured that she herself would soon find out. Outside the door against the wall sat Tartan. The boys jumped up to him, trying to see what condition he was in. Tartan was speechless. It turned out that he was sound asleep. The guys were shocked by this. With a light tap on the back of his head and a magical, "Come on, get up," Tartan opened his eyes. He hadn't expected to see the guys here. He thanked them for their help and rushed off to meet his parents, shouting parting words in his wake. The boys are stunned at what they see. Skye asks Rem if she'll follow him, but she figures they've already set him free. Skye asks not to tell the chairman, but Rem assures him that she won't be angry. It didn't take long for the girl in the room to realize that they had gotten so caught up in the argument that they had forgotten about it. She considers the Slains to be the bandits of justice and the rectification of this world. This is the basis of Brero's philosophy. The girl does not find it necessary to tell about their ideology. Her familiar Oga frame. Advanced level fire magic. Magic energy consumption 500, damage 1200. Skye pointed her staff at the enemy. The girl considers it an unnecessary waste of time. After all, she has finished the spell and nothing can stop her now. Skye tries to defend himself, but it seems he doesn't quite understand the situation, according to the waitress. With a striking blow, Skye breaks through the enemy's magic. Justice is on the side of truth. The enemy is defeated. Now it's done, Skye added. Suddenly Skye and Remus are surrounded by knights. They look at the boys menacingly. Skye doesn't realize what he did wrong this time. Someone commands them to lower their weapons. "It's you again," said Jen Odora. Apparently they had discovered the slain hideout first, she added. In Rem's opinion, their target was different. The head of the knights assessed the situation. Jen wonders how many people are down there. Rem reports that one is unconscious, and there was another student from the academy who was recently kidnapped. Jen suspects that this is the work of Breros. She still has a lot of work to do. Suddenly, Jen was summoned by a subordinate. He had received an emergency message from headquarters. The subordinate whispers something in the captain's ear. Skye feels it's time to make a run for it, lest he get into more trouble. He furtively says he's leaving. Jen is furious at the deputy's news. She stops Skye. He covers himself by saying he has to get back to the academy. Jen says it doesn't make sense. Skye doesn't see what the big deal is. Jen starts to say she's gotten some information. According to this information, the School of Magic has been taken over by the Slains, including Her Highness, the Princess. All the students have been taken hostage. Skye has begun to realize the main plot of the Slains. Jen realizes that the robbers' next target was the School of Higher Magic. Jen thinks that Breros has simply run out of money. Remus stops the captain of the knights. She can't wait to find out what's up with the chairman. Surin, according to her, wouldn't let everyone be taken hostage so easily. Jen was not in possession of detailed information but sent a message to everyone about the incident. Rem can't calm down. She is reassured by Skye. He believes that the chairman would not agree to such a thing. Besides, she has Rengia by her side. This time, the entire school is taken over. The students are taken hostage. Under such circumstances, the chairman will not take the risk, Skye ponders. Rem agrees with him. The bandits are overwhelmed by numbers. According to the captain, if the students are held captive for ransom, they will not be harmed. Skye tries to cheer up her friend and assures her that no one will get hurt. Skye adds that everything will be fine because the chairwoman is a stubborn one. This statement made Rem a little angry. Jen found the scene cute. The captain distracted her friends from the argument. She suggests that if the bandits decide to stay in the school, it would be a bad deal for the defenders. On the other hand, it is a good opportunity to end them once and for all. Jen will punish Breros, but she needs more strength. Jen asks to borrow power from Skye. She doesn't consider Skye and Rem to be ordinary students. Skye said no. Jen wants to know why. Half the hostages are aristocrats. Parents would be happy to pay ransom for their child if they were in that situation, Skye explained. Jen realizes that the Slain's goal is money. Skye sees it as a solution to the problem. Jen doesn't see money as the solution to the problem. Are the bandits really going to give in so easily? Skye doesn't see it as her problem. Jen realizes that Skye is right. The aristocrat student will be ransomed and released. Well then, how will the students from ordinary families be dealt with? It seems to Skye that they will be released with everyone else. No doubt the nobles will pay a large ransom for their children. Since the princess is also being held hostage, it's up to the royal family to save the commoners. It is they who will have to pay the ransom. Jen wants assurances that this is exactly what will happen. The parents of the commoners do not have much power, and the Slains will ask for a fabulous sum. Therefore, there is no doubt that the royal family will refuse. Jen wants Skye and Rem to deal with the bandits since the common students might get hurt. Therefore, it is necessary to be careful. She wants to know if Skye has friends from ordinary families at the academy. Skye is puzzled. Skye remembers about Askra. Jen suggests that Rem fight alongside Skye. Rem thinks that Skye is right. If this issue can be solved with money, that would be the best option. However, in such an arrangement, many students might suffer, and the chairman doesn't like that. Rem agrees. She persuades Skye by trying to bribe him with ice cream. Skye doesn't want to put Rem in danger. In return, he wants to ask Rem to buy him that white ice cream she had recently. Someone is casting a spell. The Magic Academy is covered by a dome. This dome turned out to be Kananto's magic barrier. Another unpleasant thing, Jen thought. She touched the barrier. Jen explains the following to everyone. This barrier has been subjected to changes to keep the royal knights out. It includes 3 conditions. The first is the total amount of magic. If it is more than 5,000, the barrier offers great resistance. If it is less, it offers weak resistance. The second condition is age. If over 20 years old, the barrier will not pass. If younger, the resistance is negligible. And the third condition is the nature of the magic. The nature of fire makes the barrier resist more strongly, unlike the magic of nothingness. In other words, a strong wizard will not pass through the barrier. This is done so that a weak mage can pass through easily. Then they can use him as a hostage. It's a pretty effective barrier, Jen explained. Skye understood it all. Skye weighs the pros and cons. His magic is nothingness. He is 16 years old and has a total magic sum of 999. Skye realizes that he is exactly the right wizard to fit those parameters. Someone calls out to Skye from behind the barrier. It was Asker. Skye asks if he's alright. Asker is fine. He says that a few people were hurt at the beginning of the attack, but the rest are safe. Skye asks Asker to leave the place and wait for everyone else. Asker disagrees. After all, he is not running away. He has a message from the slain. Once he gives it to the knights, he must return immediately, or they will start punishing the students. Skye is angry. Jen thinks it's a smart move. She asks him to hand her the request paper. Jen reads the paper in front of the knights. Skye promises Asker that he will help everyone. He asks him not to worry and to wait a bit. Asker counts on the protagonist. The promise made by the strongest student gives everyone hope and faith. Asker has gone back again. Skye inquired about the terms and conditions. The ransom information has been confirmed, Jen replied. The only thing left to do is to wait for the royal order. A messenger brings the royal order. Jen thanks him. Everyone waits for Jen to read it. Now the knights have full authority to crush the slains in the name of the royal house, Jen shouted. We must forget all formalities and move forward. No one believes it, but there's no doubt about it, it's a real letter. The royal family is very angry with the slains. In that case, the hostages might get hurt, the knight said worriedly. But Jen saw no more obstacles. After all, this is a royal order. Therefore, all the knights will break the barrier. After destroying the barrier, the slains must be punished, commanded Jen. The knights rushed toward the barrier. It put the students' lives lower than the bandits. That's a stupid thing to do. Skye remembers her friends and her. He is sure that Sophia is the king's daughter. Skye recalls a conversation with his father. He asks for a moment of the captain's attention. He has a plan. He just needs a little time. Jen asks him to drop the idea. After all, the king's orders are already being carried out. Skye realizes that Jen wants revenge on Breros and gives her assurances that the opportunity will come. He just needs some time. Jen doesn't like that. She wants Skye to follow her and eliminate Kananto. If he's obedient, the number of friends that can be saved will increase, Jen said. Skye doesn't want to go with her. Skye has his own motives for that. Jen doesn't believe the main character doesn't want to do as she says. After all, she just wanted to give them a chance to punish Kananto. But if Skye is so eager to oppose it, he'll get what he deserves. Rem popped up in front of her. She fought off Jen's attack with her sword. Rem asks Skye to go on without her. She'll hold Jen off. After all, for the sake of her friends, she's willing to go against the country. Remet takes on the knights. Skye is grateful to her. He crosses the barrier. Jen doesn't understand why Skye crossed the barrier. After all, it's designed to keep out powerful mages. Remus is sure that Jen just doesn't know the protagonist well. Rem wastes no time and seizes the moment to strike first. Skye assumes that the hostages will be held in a large space where they can be more easily controlled. It will probably be a gymnasium. He's sure it's the best place in the whole school. Skye ran into the kitchen. Not only were the students taken, but the cooks as well. There were extraneous noises coming from behind the door. Perhaps one of the slain had decided to get a refreshment. The protagonist doesn't know how many people are there, but that doesn't stop him, and he bursts into the room. He will be able to overpower everyone. There are no bandits in the room. It was the guild girl Arita Tangaloy. She didn't expect to see Skye. He first tries to find out what she is doing here. Arita is always hungry from nerves, so she comes here to eat. Even the Duchess of Menchi does this kind of thing and no one knows about it, Arita added. Skye clarifies if she knows that the academy has been taken over. To his surprise, she is aware of it. She was just making her way to the dining hall at the time of the takeover. Arita counts on the knights for help. The protagonist takes that hope away, explaining that destroying the barrier will take time, and there are orders from the king for total destruction. It seems to him that the knight's main objective is the complete elimination of the slain. So all the students are abandoned to their fate, even the Duchess. Arita silently looks at the protagonist. She thinks something serious is afoot. Skye suggests she stay here. He'll figure it out on his own. Arita wants to go with the protagonist. She'll go with him to help him. Meanwhile, all the students of the academy are in the gym. Kane and Toe tensed up. Braros is concerned about his condition. The knights have started to collapse the barrier, Kane and Toe said. He thinks they started doing it too early. Apparently they don't agree with the demands, Braros added, and don't want to take care of the hostages. This was unexpected by the Slanes. Even the royal family had been abandoned to their fate. Sitting on the chair was Sophia Nasher. She is the 6th child of the current king. She has true royal blood in her veins. Even the chairman can't do anything. Every student's life is a priority. Silence is the best way not to make the situation worse, Surun explained. Ranger understood. Things are not going according to plan, Sophia said. Braros confirmed it. Sophia looks at him silently. If they can't use the hostages, they're in big trouble. The slain don't know what to do. Braros reveals to Kane and Toe the reason for leaving the knights. Their goal is to overthrow the king and rule the strange on behalf of the royal family. Braros believes that the royalty will not understand this. The kingdom expands every year and its shadow grows larger and larger. Poverty is far from the only problem. It is difficult for people to get food. Every day, terrible things are done that a young lady would find it hard to imagine. Braros and Kane and Toe are from the slums, so they understand everything well. Sophia thinks that there are such problems in every country. Changing the whole country's system is not easy, she added. Braros sees some truth in this. He wasn't thinking so globally. In fact, he has an overwhelming desire to destroy things, to break it to pieces. He can't help it, but he can't do that because he was a knight, so he can only punish one thing at a time. The country. Therefore he left the knights and created the Slanes. What Kane and Toe said earlier is true. The truth is that Braros just wants to rampage. Kane and Toe agrees with him. Sophia thinks they are just crazy. It sounds like a compliment to them. The aide reports that someone other than the knights may have gotten in. Communication was lost with 10 members of the group. Braros likes that. He only clarifies if the barrier is broken. The barrier, according to Kane and Toe, is still intact. Therefore, the academy has been infiltrated by a student. There were rumored to be monsters in this academy, added Braros. The chairman and his assistant are not under suspicion. The rumors turned out to be true and this monster went through the containment system, said Kane and Toe. This is a real rampage. Braros laughed. He's getting more and more interesting. Sophia is in solidarity with him. Braros is taken aback by Sophia's expression. Brave and strong Skye will definitely win, she said confidently. The head of the Slanes is interested. On the outside, the head of the knights, and on the inside not particularly clear on the strength of the apprentices. Braros feels this will be more unpleasant than the royal family situation. Kane and Toe is in solidarity with him. It is as if he is reading his comrade's mind. Braros is not particularly concerned about money. Braros no longer wants to suppress his desire for destruction. Meanwhile, at the academy, Skye is moving further and further away. Soon the enemy will realize that something is wrong, the protagonist thought. Arita silently follows him. Will he be able to further reduce the number of enemies? Arita can't believe that Skye defeated 10 trained fighters so easily. She thinks he's strong, but she's bored watching everything from behind. She wants to get in on the action, too. Arita warns of a threat around the corner. She says 2 people will be out of there in 15 seconds. Skye is reminded of a dog. Arita reads a spell. Her magic is Fire Fist. It's advanced level magic. The mana cost is 900. Damage per shot 1800. It's time to prepare. Skye calculates that the casting speed is 7.59 hundredths of a second. The magic conversion rate is 79%. That's almost like Rame, she has 80. That's a good number for a first strike. Those 2 didn't expect to encounter anyone, but it was too late. Arita was coming at them at full speed. Her magic was killing them all. The 2 bandits have been punished. She awaits praise from her comrade. Skye supposedly admires her. It was an ordinary enemy. But if it were his bullets, he began to think. But then Arita began to speak. With magic bullets, Skye would be able to take many shots while she takes one in 7.5 seconds. Arita thinks that the main character has calculated everything in his head. Skye has given up. But Arita doesn't resent him because there are many things in the world of magic that he doesn't know. The protagonist does not consider himself a know-it-all. He asks Arita to show him this magic. The world of magic he does not know about. She agrees. She will show him the magic that only true geniuses can possess. The building seems to be very sturdy and will withstand any battle. The boys thought so. Apparently they were backstage when it happened, Arita added. In 10 seconds, the gym doors would open and out would come the members of the Slanes, she prophesied. The slain are about 50 people. Skye hadn't counted on that. Arita wants to go first. Skye worries that if even one of them escapes, the hostages will be in danger. Her partner assures her that everything will be fine. She'll deal with them in 27 seconds. Skye doesn't believe it. He doesn't know what she's up to. But if they can hold back 50 people, it will be much easier for the hostages to get free. He won't miss the opportunity to contribute if Arita loses. There were 3 seconds left. Slain ran out of the building. They surround the students. Arita suggests that Skye stay back. One bandit rushes into the fight. The other stops him and tells him to keep his guard up. He recalls Kanento's words. These are unusual first graders. Looks like there are smart people among the enemies too, Arita thought. Only it won't help them anymore. She asks Skye to take a closer look at her magic. After all, it is true genius. And real power, she adds. Arita casts a spell. The bandits don't realize what's happening. A terrifying shockwave sweeps them off their feet. Arita soared above the earth. The nature of fire. Fists of fire. Skye is surprised at such a quick 0-second leap. In an instant, she embodied all 100 kinds of fire magic. Arita shouts forward. The fire demolishes everything in its path. Skye is mesmerized. 27 seconds, she mumbles. A crater has formed in the place of the schoolyard. She exhaled with the words, suppression complete. It's over, Arita added. Skye is still in a stupor. He praises her. She is grateful. Advanced magic has a wide range of possibilities. The only thing to do is to deal with all the enemies in time. Even though fire magic is already strong, someone who can do everything in 0 seconds, Skye ponders, will be so full of energy that he won't need any help. The protagonist wonders how Arita did it. It's the Orwen spell. It's what started it all. After all, geniuses are given privileged magic, she added. What kind of privileged magic? Skye had heard of 700 kinds of magic, but no mention of Orwen. He wonders what conditions are needed for this magic. Arita explains that it is not so difficult when one is born with it. She remembers the whole nature of fire. She wondered what would happen when the total magic count passed 25,000. She realized that she could do it. The protagonist realized that if there was an opportunity, it should be taken. He compared this to his conversion rate of 200%. He wondered why exactly 27 seconds. Because her total magic power was 27,000 after drawing in mana with the Fire Fist spell. Simply put, she had easily used 1,000 magic power in 1 second. This kind of thing is extremely exhausting. Orwen can carry all the magical power, she added. Skye believes that there is no mage who can endure the hardest 27 seconds. Skye realizes that Orwen has nothing to do with him, for his total sum of magic is 999. Skye realizes that Arita has no magical power right now, and he seems to be right. She has confirmed it. The protagonist hopes she has at least something left. Orion has drained her of all her magical power. There's nothing to be done about it. Braros is here. He is pleased with this meeting. Skye meets with the head of the slain. He immediately attacked him. A wall of dust hung, all in anticipation. The dust cleared, revealing that Braros was alright. Skye's attack proved futile. Braros thought the deputy was strong, but it turned out not to be so. He is defeated. This girl uses all or nothing, Braros remarked, looking at Arita. To those who have done damage for a long time, began Braros, was a boy holding a staff. He wondered if this was the attack Skye had used to stop the attack on the Lace family's casino. The protagonist remained silent. Braros summoned his familiar, Kamui. It's a magical beast, a grizzly king in a physical state. Now the real battle will begin. Skye considers his handmaiden weaker than the dragons he has fought. However, he is surprised at the suggestive strength. Skye summons Pirit. Pirit does not want to fight. He must help his master despite his fear. Handmaids usually grow up with their master, Braros observes. His handmaiden was losing to the dragons at first, but now one growl makes the dragons start to shake with fear. Braros thinks Skye is still growing. Braros attacks without delay. Skye prepared to repel the attack. Kanento intervenes in this confrontation. Ranger whizzed by. He flew into the ruins of the academy. Skye realizes Kanento won't just let him pass. Their goal is no longer hostages, Kanento said. Ranger already feels the crushing power of the Braros. He's reasonable and sensible and won't do anything in a hurry, Kanento added. So Ranger will put evacuation at the top of the list. Kanento wants to focus on the protagonist. His look is reminiscent of Braros. Kanito can't wait to get started. Skye attacks first, but his magic is powerless. He's in shock. Kanento explains that the protagonist's magic is powerless against him and shows why. His sidekick is Skook's spirit, Carbuncle. This barrier is his power. Of course, it's impossible to put up such a strong barrier in such a short period of time. Kanento believes that the protagonist knows the difference between barrier magic and barrier magic. In this barrier is set time and position. The barrier is set on a terrain, and it needs to stand there for a long time. In order not to move it, the barrier is placed in a large area, and with great care. Its disadvantage is that it cannot be quickly removed and put up again. That is, it is not suitable for battle. In contrast, for barrier magic, you don't have to set a location. You can quickly place and remove it. It loses to a regular barrier in neatness, and it cannot be on for long. However, this is only Kanento's opinion. Such a barrier can be placed once every 5 seconds. Skye shoots at an unimaginable speed. Kanento sees no chance to deal with such power. Skye sees that the opponent has guessed the amplification of the magic bullet through the creation of the hit and miss trick. So what makes the impossible possible? First is the development of Skooks as well as Breros' pet. But that's not enough. The most important thing is advanced preparation. Kanento has placed many magical stones around this school. These stones create a field around the school, within which barrier magic is strengthened. Kanento's magic is strengthened. The battle is not only a clash of pure brute force, but also skills. There are the basics: prepare, think it through, strategize, and then prevail. In the end, the winner is always right, he added. Skye thinks about the magic recovery pill, a barrier that can't be broken through even with 2000 damage from a shot with a trick creation. There's always a chance.